Oh, yeah, there.
I needed to show I needed laptop. Okay. Okay. We're ready to start.
Good morning. A roll call, please.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the July 2023 panel meeting. Before we begin, I would like to go over a few meeting instructions. Chair, if that's okay? That's fine. Thank you. All attendees will be muted with the following exceptions. Presenters will walk up to the podium and please name your name and who you're representing. Contractor representatives will also come to the podium and please present your name and the company you are representing. If to make public comment, if you are on Zoom, please click to raise your hand feature to request to speak. Wait for your name to be called. The host will then unmute you and you'll have a 3-minute limit. For those who are in person today, please raise your hand and you will be called upon to walk up to the podium. And Chair, we will go with the roll call. Rebecca Betancourt,
Present.
Rick Smiles,
Present.
Madison Hall,
Present.
Mike Hill,
Present.
Gretchen Newsom,
Present.
Chris Dombrowski, Ernesto Morales, Douglas Tracy. Chair Betancourt, there are 6 members present. We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. So we are now going to move to the approval of the the June panel meeting minutes. So the July meeting agenda, I'm misreading myself. So is there a motion to approve the July panel meeting agenda?
So move.
Second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? Motion adopted. Now we're moving to the approval of the June, panel meeting minutes. I'm having a morning, sorry. Any corrections to the June panel meeting minutes?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? We are now moving over to the executive reports.
I'll start. Thank you, Chair Betancourt. Good morning, panel members, staff, applicants, and members of the public. Today's meeting presents 42 proposals totaling approximately $8.1 million. That includes 6 approved delegation orders totaling just over $300,000. If all proposals presented today are approved, the remaining contracting capacity for this fiscal year will be approximately $82.9 million. Before we turn to the proposals this morning, Dr. Indira Gillespie will present her overview of the independent evaluation of the Seed One initiative. Switching to my chief counsel hat, I will give you a brief update on a couple of bills that we've been following. First, Assembly Bill 1766 passed out of the Senate unanimously just before the legislature went into summer recess, so it is now awaiting the governor's signature. Senate Bill 544 is the bill that would amend the Bagley-Keene Act to allow some of the flexibility we had to conduct these panel meetings during the pandemic. That bill is still alive, and I understand that the administration and the author's office are having discussions about further amendments to that bill. So it is still alive and kicking over in the legislature. Finally, I want to remind our panel members today that if any of our proposals are modified orally, please state the modification in the motion to approve the proposal. It greatly helps our staff after the meeting when we have to put the contracts together for the contractors to make it very clear for them. And now turn the meeting over to our Assistant Director, Peter Cooper.
Good morning, panel members. I just have a quick update on our Workforce Advancement Fund and our Workforce Literacy Fund. So as you will see today, we have 12 healthcare Workforce Advancement Fund projects worth just over $6.9 million to train 3,720 individuals. We have just around $10 million left in this fund. That's the healthcare one. For the Workforce Literacy Fund, you will see 14 projects worth just over $4 million today to support 2,907 trainees. And then for August panel, we will have around $3.4 million in funding for the rest of the literacy projects. The remainder of the proposals for healthcare and for literacy would be coming to the August panel, at which time we will provide the panel with an analysis of the projects that we are funding, so you have a better overview as we head into the implementation and these contracts for workforce healthcare and for workforce literacy. So with that, I will turn it over to Tara. Thank you.
Good morning, panel members. I have the technology update for you guys today. So under our CALI program, we have been accepting all stakeholder recommendations for ways that they can enhance the system and make it easy for them. So I definitely want to thank all the feedback that has been coming into us. With that, we have made some application and some trainee record updates. For example, we've added workplace name and job number to the reports and added a filter for them. We've also added the trainee name is now a hyperlink so they can navigate to that trainee more quickly. We're also working on an internal panel proposal automation inside of ETP. It's like our first step on providing some efficiencies. and removing some duplication that we can inside of our internal staff. So, and I think Mario Maslak in the past has met with a few of you to talk through like some of the areas and the look and feel and got some feedback on some information you guys would like to see. So over the next several months, we're going to continue that process and refine our panel proposal on both sides. Next, we have under our Cali Grants program, we're still working with the state board and also with ETP's grants to enhance that system and keep it going. And lastly, to increase our security posture, we are having a dedicated network security engineer join our team here soon. And that is the end of my update. I don't know if you have any questions. I'll pass it over to Jaime.
Thank you, Tara. Good morning, Madam Chair, panel members, and stakeholders. Thank you once again for the opportunity to provide a summary of the employment training panel's funding. Before I do begin the information regarding today's panel, I would like to share some information regarding the ETF collections as well as the expansion funds. Regarding the expansion funds, in previous panel meetings, ETP shared that we would be recovering some of the expansion funds and then would make those funds available. Unfortunately, or depending on how you look at it, good news, we look at it as good news. We have not recovered as much of those expansion funds as we initially thought we were going to be able to recover. The reason for that is that most of our contractors have utilized the funds, which is really good news. That being the case, we will not be redistributing any of the expansion funds. We're just going to keep the few dollars that we did recover, which is, again, not a significant amount. I also would like to share that we have now received the final numbers for the ETF Employment Training Fund tax collections for last year. The tax collections came in at $130.6 million, which is slightly higher than what we had identified and anticipated. However, ETP's delegated spending authority is for $125 million for state fiscal year 23-24, which means that essentially the numbers will stay the same as they were identified in the April panel, which will allow us for approximately $92 million in contracting capacity. With that, I'll move on to the funding for this panel. Today's panel meeting, which does include healthcare and literacy projects, is for approximately $18.1 million. That does include 6 approved delegated orders for a total of $303,365. If all proposals scheduled for this panel meeting are funded today, the panel will be approving 48 projects, including 1 critical proposal. These projects also include 11 healthcare workforce advancement fund projects for $6.4 million, 14 workforce literacy projects for $4.1 million. Regarding the demand, we do have 201 applications in demand currently. 171 applications are currently with the regional offices in development. 26 applications are under review by the application and assessment unit, and 4 are submitted applications pending review. The estimated value for the 201 applications is $49 million and breaks down as follows. $22.7 million in demand for single employer contracts, $176,225 in demand for small business, $1.6 million in demand for multiple employer contracts, and 24.4 in demand for apprenticeships, and 0 demand after today for critical proposals. Regarding allocations, we are currently within our allocations for state fiscal year 23-24. With that, that is the final portion of my report, and I have 1 action item related to the consent calendar. I would like to request that panel members identify which proposals, if any, they would like to pull from today's consent calendar, and then for a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception and identity of those proposals being pulled, which will be heard individually and in order.
Madam Chair, I'd like to pull tab 1, 2020 plumbing and heating, and tab 6, Green Day Power.
just what I turn myself off. And tab 9, SOMA AEC. So for those remaining on the consent calendar, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar for those remaining?
Approved.
Second.
Thank you. And do we have, so all those in favor say aye.
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 All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted. Healthcare next. Oh, yeah, we have a presentation next, don't we? All right, so we now have our presentation. That's okay.
Take that.
Great. Good morning. My name is Dr. Indiria Gillespie, and I will be presenting to you on the Social Entrepreneurs for Entrepreneurship Development Initiative. And this is for their first year. So I will refer to it as Seed 1 assessment. Also, it's referred to as Seed. So from here on. Next slide, please. So the Seed, The SEED initiative, the SEED grant is awarded to California nonprofit community-based organizations. These CBOs performed outreach to immigrants and limited English proficient individuals in appropriate languages. These individuals then received entrepreneurial training and can apply to the CBO for a micro grant to help them either form or maintain a small business or worker-owned cooperative. The CBO also provides technical assistance to the micro grantees. Next slide, please. So there were 9 CBOs that participated in the program, and this is for Seed 1. And these are the 9. They were all throughout the state of California, serving immigrants throughout California as well. Out of the 9, 7 participated in the assessment process. The 2 that did not is number 2 and 3. And 8 of the 9 were part of the entrepreneurship program. And only 1 was in the demonstration project, worker cooperatives and employment ownership program. And that was number 3 as well. Next slide, please. So before getting started, we developed a research plan on how we're going to collect the data. So phase 1, the preliminary assessment, first we identified the program goals and objectives, and that's the goals and objectives for SEED. And we use that information to guide the research process because that tells us exactly what it is that we're trying to collect, and we can develop the best strategy as to how to collect it. So the next step was to review and analyze the secondary data. That included the contracts that the CBOs had with the ETP regarding the SEED program, all quarterly reports, end of year reports, and any other reporting. And that helps also to guide my questions and things of that nature as far as whether or not the program is meeting its goals and objectives. Next is to determine the data needed based on the program's goals and objectives, as well as the secondary research findings. Then we determine the best methods to collect the data, in what order and from whom. Identify the participants, and then we design a data collection tools. And so the data collection tools that we utilized for this assessment was the interview process, and that was for the CBOs. And then there was an online survey for the actual trainees of the SEED program. Then we designed the data collection management plan. Next slide, please. Phase 2, the data collection, the fun part. So we recruited the participants, and as I stated before, so we recruited 7 of the 9 CBOs. We did a 58-question interview process via Zoom, And what's that? I'm referring to them as the CBOs. That included their executive directors. Sometimes they had their subcontractors and other management staff in the calls as well. And sometimes it was just the executive director. And then the next level of data collection, the participants were the actual trainees. And again, like I said, that was the surveys. So then we collected the data and then we triangulated the data. So what I did was I took the information given from the CBOs and then I referenced it to the information, the secondary data, which was the quarterly reports, the interview reports, invoices, and things like that to make sure that those numbers and information coincided with one another. I analyzed the data, coded the data, and then, of course, synthesized the data into the reporting process, which is the next phase. Next slide, please. Which is phase 3 reporting. So we developed a report to include the findings. We highlighted the strengths and weaknesses and recommendations. And then, of course, the final step here today, presenting the findings. So let's talk about the program a little bit more. Who did we serve? Let's go to the next slide, please. So this chart here tells us what were the barriers to employment that the trainees had coming into the program. Mind you, these numbers, some of the individuals were counted twice. And that's because if they met the definition of immigration status, as well as limited English proficiency, those numbers could represent the same person. Okay, and again, this is for all 9 CBOs reporting. And one of the things I love to highlight about this wonderful program is that this program was offered throughout the state of California in 39 languages. Next slide, please. So who was served? So this is broken down by race. And also there's some subgroups here. So as far as the training, how many people were enrolled in the training? And then completers are those that actually completed the entire program. The micro grants, how many people were approved? And then the next column is received the grant. So the numbers weren't the same as how many were approved versus how many received the grant. And again, this is for 9 CBOs reporting. Next slide. So now we're going to break it down by gender and sexual orientation. Again, it's broken down by how many people were enrolled and how many completed. And then under the micro grants, how many were approved and how many received grants. And you can see the numbers as they fall there. And again, this is 9 CBOs reporting. Next slide, please. If you need me to slow down so you can see the numbers, just say something. Trainees and grantees by location. So if you look at the spread with the location of all the different areas, the state of California was very well represented here. And of course, the numbers are higher in the areas where the population is higher. So like the Bay Area, Central Valley South, and Southern California coastal. So those numbers tend to be very high. But all of California was represented. And again, it's broken down again, the trainees, enrollees, completers, those receiving grants, approved for grants, and those receiving grants. Next slide, please. The initiative, the SEED initiative, this here is 7 CBOs reporting because we couldn't get the numbers here from the 2 that did not participate. So if you're looking at these numbers, what it's telling you, the blue bar is how many the CBOs projected to serve. And then the red bar or burgundy bar is how many enrolled, how many they actually served. And of those that they served, the green bar is how many actually completed the entire program. So that's the training and the technical assistance portions of the program. To your far right is a totally separate chart, but it's representing the same information. That's because one particular CBO, Immigrants Rising, had very, very high numbers in comparison to the others. So I had to give it a separate chart in order for it to all fit on the screen. And you see their projections were rather high. However, they still did have a high enrollment rate. Next slide, please. And how many businesses were started due to the SEED program? That's what these numbers here represent. And only 5 out of the 9 are reporting here, again, because 2 did not participate, and then another 2 did not collect this area of information. Next slide, please. Jobs created, which is very impressive. Immigrants Rising created 474 jobs through the SEED program. And all the other numbers are rather impressive as well. That's quite a few jobs through the program. And this is only 6 CBOs of the 9 reporting. Next slide, please. Yes.
All right, is this also indicative of the businesses that were started? So if it's a applicant that received a grant to start their own business and then they're therefore saying, I created a job?
Yes. So if the person that's starting the job, obviously they're the owner, so they're now employed. So they were counted as well. There were some people that had employees as well, which is really, really phenomenal for you, to start a business and get employees within the same year of starting your business. That's a huge feat without any barriers. Next slide. Here are some of the strengths of the SEED program, and this isn't limited to these. These are just some of the highlights here. The SEED initiative offers immigrants a viable means to earn an income and support themselves and their families. Entrepreneurship would bring new business creations, new jobs, tax base, and more money circulating within the immigrant community and the California economy as a whole. The SEED entrepreneurial training was administered throughout California. The training and TA services was facilitated again in 39 languages. 923 immigrants in California receive a collective total of over $6 million in microgrants to support starting a business or a work cooperative. 536 businesses started up, and that's only with 5 CBOs reporting. So we are sure that there are more business startups that could be attributed to the SEED program. 2,142 immigrants received a collective total of 426 hours of entrepreneurial training administered by 9 CBOs with 189 years of collective experience. Now, mind you, the 426 hours of entrepreneurial training, some of that training was conducted in a classroom setting. So therefore, several people could be in the same room receiving those same hours of training. So that's why it's a high number of immigrants and the lower number of collective hours of training. The SEED initiative closes skills and knowledge gaps by giving immigrants the tools to navigate financially and thrive as individuals and as a community. The SEED initiative has developed an impressive quarterly reporting system aimed at collecting critical data and metrics. The ETP provided support to the CBOs through monthly group calls, where they can get questions answered and share best practices. Again, the SEED program generated over 620 jobs. And again, that's with 5 CBOs reporting. Now let's talk about some of the weaknesses. And the weaknesses are also impressive because, mind you, this is the first year of the program. And the weaknesses are, I will say, somewhat minor. Some SEED trainees had difficulties navigating their mini grant checks. So some would go to the bank with their checks, and the banks were denying to tender their checks because they didn't believe it was theirs. So a lot of the CBOs did provide some technical assistance with that, assisting them with getting those grant checks cash so that they can start their businesses or infuse the money into the business. Another weakness was subcontracting. I noticed that some of the executive directors was not well versed in what was going on in the program because they turned over too much control over to the subcontractors. And so their need, my recommendation is for the executive director to have more management and oversight and for a policy to be developed around that. And for during these monthly meetings, that questions are asked that will show that they are actively within the program. Another weakness, a lot of CBOs complained about the indirect and the direct, the 25-75% split. For those that were receiving a smaller amount of money as opposed to those that received a lot of money, this 25-75 was more impactful for them and their program. Their funding, it made it difficult for them to utilize, get more people for TA services and things of that nature. So because their funding was smaller. And again, that could also be on the side of the CBO. They need to take that into consideration when they're doing their budgets and asking and requesting for a certain dollar amount. So the recommendation is to reconsider the split and to free up funds for more than training and TA services. Another weakness is inconsistent collection of metrics. As far as you notice, some of them had, the CBOs collected how many jobs were created, how many businesses were created, and then some, I think it was 2 that did not. So if there was some consistency on how to collect the data, and if there was like a form for them to complete every time they conduct TA services, that would help them to extract that information. Another weakness, inconsistent disbursement of mini grants. Some had lump sum and some had reimbursement. The reimbursement model was very difficult for those that were poor because they have to spend the money first and they don't have the money up front to spend to ask for the reimbursement. So that made it difficult as well for them to even utilize their grant. The recommendation is to develop a consistent policy that is advantageous to all of the grantees. And then general recommendations, trainees should be provided with a list of community resources available to them post-seed. Because a lot of them still needed assistance and they demonstrated this in the surveys. But they had no resource as to where to go because the CBOs, although they did have programs, they no longer had funding once the program was over. So if we could provide them with a listing, like with listing of all of the SBDCs, PTACs, and things of that nature that could assist them free of charge. Next slide. Do you have any questions?
Very informative, Dr. Gillespie. Thank you for that excellent report. I'm hopeful that when we come back for the next time and we're doing kind of Seed 2.0, that we can also hear some of the stories from those that have benefited directly from this.
Success stories?
Success stories of a little bit more like down at the grassroots level.
Okay.
Less of the, keep the data, keep doing what you're doing with the data. But I do want to hear like the success stories from the individual trainee or grantee, the awardee.
Okay, wonderful.
And then any additional feedback on kind of the drop off that we saw in the charts from those that were enrolled in and then those that completed the program. What is that attributed to?
A lot of them had different answers in regards to that because this was administered when COVID was still very active. Some reported that they even had some deaths due to COVID. And then there were family problems, that family illnesses, loss of jobs. And then some people decided that they just didn't want to start a business. After trying to develop a business plan and they saw that it wasn't something easy to do, some just dropped out because of that as well.
Not attributed to the quality of the training?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I believe we are now going to move and look at review and action on proposals for the healthcare proposals.
Good morning, panel members. So this is actually represents round 2 of the Healthcare Workforce Advancement Fund contracts. As Peter mentioned, the next round will come at the August panel. During the June panel, the panel heard 10 single employer contracts, which were approved. Next, you'll see under tabs 10 to 13 represent the first group of multiple employer contracts, 4 of those proposals, as well as 7 single employer contracts, which will be presented by Kellen Hernandez and Phil Boyer. So for the first group of MACs, they represent approximately $2,983,080 in healthcare workforce advancement fund monies. Like with the first group of single employer proposals last month, I'd like to provide the panel with a brief introduction on these MACs, since it's there are some nuances that I'd like to point out. Primarily, of course, with MACs, there is the item of participating employers, where these MACs will actually manage the provision of funding for employees of participating employers, or manage the training and funding of unemployed individuals through new hires and then placement with participating employers. All the participating employers must be nonprofit or public employers. Additional employers will be recruited throughout the terms of the agreement. Unlike the core program, the 60% participating employer demand threshold for funding was not required, given the long term of the agreement of at least a 3-year period. Unlike last month, where there was very specific quantitative information with regards to wage progression, with the participating employers in these MACs, the wage progression, of course, will vary and will be more illustrated as each participating employer is recruited. However, that said, the MECs understand the necessary commitment of the wage progression. Wages will be tracked at enrollment at the start of training of each employee, and again at the end of the training and retention period, like with our core program. With regards to union support, any of the core participating employer list in the panel packet, if there was an expected group of employees that were covered by a collective bargaining agreement, a notice of intent was required with the application in accordance with 4404 of union support in our regulations. Once the multiple employers know those that are in the core group as well as those that are recruited later, there is an understanding that a union support letter must be provided to ETP prior to any trainees starting training that are covered by a collective bargaining agreement. You will notice in this group and probably in the groups in August, they come to you from the multiple employer contracts, that you may see some of the same, or what appear to be some of the same participating employers. Some may be the same, but some may be the same entity, the same employer, but in another location. So those are just kind of the top level things that I wanted to point out. And as I go through each and every one of these, I will be pointing out any kind of nuances for any particular one. So we'll start off with tab 10.
Diana, I'm sorry,
Yes.
if I could interject and just that nuance that you just spoke about same employers having same employees, how are they coordinating? Who is training which one? Because they can only claim one training can only be claimed by one. So are they racing against each other to claim that employee for the training, or talking with each other?
I think that, well, I don't think, I know, especially in speaking with all the 4 that are forthcoming, there are some nuances. There may be some different training, different locations. What looks like on the participating employer list before you, it seems like oh my gosh, they're all in the same address.
Right.
But I think there's more to that. But regardless of that, we do have within our systems that they cannot actually enroll the same trainee in the same program for the same training. So you'll get some of that. So I'll kind of let, I think each one tell their, the specifics,
Right.
and they'll probably do a better job than I can. Thanks. Any other questions with regarding just collectively healthcare max? Okay, great. All right, so back to tab 10, which we have Kern Community College District. They are requesting a total of $749,000, which includes 8% support of $48,420. They are requesting to train approximately 395 retrainees, as well as 36 job creation initiative trainees. They are located, the participating employers are primarily located in an area of high unemployment. For these trainees, the panel may modify the ETP minimum wage. However, Kern Community College is not asking for a wage modification. This will be Kern's sixth ETP contract and the sixth within the last 5 years. Kern is also submitting proposals in this agenda for a core funding of approximately $593,000, as well as they are requesting for $190,836 under the literacy program as well. With regards to union support, they have identified in their core group that some employers, Bakersfield Memorial, Bakersfield Mercy Hospital, and Kaiser Permanente, that may be training employees that are covered by a collective bargaining agreement. They have provided the notice of intent in accordance with 4404 and understand that no trainees may start training and that are covered by a collective bargaining agreement until ETP receives the copy of the union support letter. Now, for those nuances that I talked about with the participating employers, we do have Dignity Health, Bakersfield Memorial, and that is also included. That is actually one of the single employers that is requesting funding. So under the same hospital in Bakersfield, California. Second, I wanted to also point out that you'll see that the Adventist Health in Bakersfield is included in the core group of employers. And this is also included in another MEC as a participating employer in this agenda. So here representing Kern Community College, we have David Teasdale. He is the executive director.
Thank you, Diana. Does the panel-
Can you hear me? Great. Thank you, Madam Chair, panel members. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to present our proposals to you today. Have to say it's really nice to be in person again. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces. These are new since last time I presented to you back in 2019. And I want to thank staff. These were complicated and involved applications. And Diana's team, Ryan's team were very helpful in getting us to this point today. So we're here with talking about our Healthcare Workforce Advancement Fund proposal. I can't tell you how honored I am to be the first one to answer all those nuanced questions for the rest of the group today. But I did want to give a little geographic kind of a place setting context for this proposal. You know, I don't think it's news to the panel that the San Joaquin Valley is a higher unemployment, higher poverty, lower health attainment region of California. In fact, of the 57 counties in California, Tulare County is 53rd and Kern is 50th. And that's the primary areas that we are representing with this. In addition, the State Department of Healthcare Access and Information did a report for the legislature in January 2023, this year, January of this year. And the San Joaquin Valley is underrepresented in every healthcare occupation, with the exception of LVN, licensed vocational nurse, and respiratory care. Well, the LVN is because the shortage of RNs is so extreme that they have to cover it with LVNs. And respiratory care is because in the South San Joaquin Valley, we have some of the worst air in the country. So we have some of the worst health outcomes and some of the least staffing of healthcare. I want to thank the legislature and the panel for having the community college pilot funding that allowed us to work with our partners at Adventist and Dignity Health and Kaiser to truly get our arms around how desperate their staffing situations are, especially coming out of pandemic and a lot of people opting for different careers. And so with that, I did want to address one of the things with Dignity. I looked at their single employer proposal. It's a fantastic proposal. It's a registered nurse residency proposal. I recommend the panel approve that when that comes up. You'll also see in there that Dignity Health has 40,000 employees and their single employer contracts training 250,000. While we have registered nurses in our proposal, a lot of our work is going to be at the allied health level with technologists, technicians, and the opportunity there is great. Dana brought up the issue of wage progression, and for our collectively bargained hospitals, that's something between headquarters and the bargaining unit. So they can't promise that. What they can tell me is that the people that will go through this training will have a much better chance of getting lead positions. Those will likely result in increases of 7 to 20% if they are to do that. Their intention is to develop their people and move them up through their organizations. One of the challenges we have in the Valley is when we hire practitioners from outside of the area, they don't stay. But if we raise our own, that's home and they do stay. And so that's what part of this proposal is. So like I said, I'm really proud of this proposal. I'm glad we could present it, and I welcome any questions the panel might have.
Okay, does the panel have any questions?
Diana, you said they were going to be harder on me. Thank
Well,
you.
I do, hang on, I do have a couple we
Okay.
haven't even approved yet.
Oh,
So, you
oh,
know, there's always gonna be one.
Now that I threw the gauntlet
Yeah,
down.
she prepped you well, but I do have a question around, you list the wages to be very much the Bay Area wages versus Tulare County. So I'm looking at the minimum wages by county in the application, and it's showing like San Francisco and the equivalents. Is there a reason they're a Bay Area when?
I think the application shows all wages because we did statewide. The community colleges do that because then we partner together if we aren't able to use funding and we have a college that can. If you look on there, we're the other, which is the low one. I guarantee you our trainees will be at the lowest end, unfortunately. Thank you.
The only other question, it's more of a housekeeping. You have 2 active contracts currently. I see no retention. I see hours completed, but no retention into current.
Our core contract training ended May 22nd, and we're in the process of closing it out so that you're not going to see retention. That will be over 100%. And our community college funding last training date's December 31st, and that will be over 100% as well. So I think we have some people that we have trainees that have retention, but they don't show up until we do that part of the closeout.
Yeah, it's just nice to see the progress coming towards hey, we're near to the end of that contract, or we're halfway through 86%, but we're seeing 0 retained. It's just nice to see that coming forward.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions from the panel?
No, I think you spotted maybe a slight error though for staff. The minimum wage by county should be more reflective of Tulare and Kern in the application. So we'll just have that updated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve this proposal?
Motion to approve the Kern Community College District Contract Number ET 24-0123 and an ETP funding amount of $749,000.
Second.
Fantastic. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you. So under tab 11, we have Porterville Adult School. They are requesting a total of $749,885, inclusive of $53,100 in support costs for job one that is up to 8% for the retrainee population and up to 12% for the new hire population, which is allowed under our ETP policies. The training plan includes approximately 260 retrainees and 115 new hires, both of which are located in areas of high unemployment. Students enrolled in the ETP funding program will not be charged tuition fees or any other costs associated with training. The representation of this will be made as a condition of the contract. And I do want to point that out, especially because this has a new hire component in it. As I mentioned, these trainees are located in an area of high unemployment for both jobs one and two. The panel may modify the ETP minimum wage by up to 25% if post-retention wages exceed the pre-retention wage. Porterville Adult School is requesting a wage modification from $22.66 to $19 per hour for job one, and for job two from $18.54 to $18 an hour. This represents approximately 7 phlebotomists, medical assistants, community healthcare workers, certified nurse assistants, and pharmacy technicians for job one. And for job two, 15 phlebotomists and community healthcare workers that will need a wage modification. As I mentioned, Porterville Hospital is requesting the up to 8% support cost for job one. And for job two, which is the new hire, the additional 4% up to 12% for new hire. They have provided in the panel packet the justification for the additional 4% for the new hire. They do have an active contract, which is scheduled to term out in June of 2024. At the time of the publication for this panel packet, they were at 36% potential performance, but I'm sure they have some updated numbers for you today. Now we get to the participating employers. There are 2 participating employers that were inadvertently submitted by Porterville, which are incorrect. And I think that's Dr. Vimuri and Dr. Bhutan. They are for profit. Is that correct? Instead of nonprofit? Yes. Okay. So they will not be, obviously, this is not part of the contract anyway, but I just wanted to assure the panel that it will only be nonprofit employers, and Porterville is aware of that. With regards to Adventist Hospital, which was also in Kearns, that is in Bakersfield and at the same location. So they can certainly speak to that as far as the differences with that. And then finally, there are 2 participating employers that also have applied for healthcare single employer agreements. One was last month, it was approved, that's Family Healthcare Network. And next month will be Kawia Healthcare. That will come in the August panel packet for single employer. And then lastly, which maybe at this first one, you'll take an opportunity that coming up after SOMA will be Visalia, and you'll see between Visalia and Porterville, there are what looks to be mirrored, and but perhaps are not, and they can tell that story as well. So here representing Porterville Adult School is Lorianne Torres, not related. She is the director, and Jill Mewson, the third-party representative. Thank you.
Good morning, panel board. I am Dr. Larry Ann Torres, Director of Porterville Adult School for the Porterville Unified School District, and also a member of the Kern Adult Education Consortium. Thank you for considering Porterville Adult School for this Healthcare Workforce Advancement Fund. I have experience with managing multiple contracts and was successful in managing multiple ETP contracts, not only currently, but also in my prior district with Tulare Joint Union High School District as director of Tulare Adult School. I am a member of the Tulare Kings Healthcare Partnership Committee with all of our healthcare partners and the Workforce Investment Board of Tulare County. We meet monthly to discuss employer-driven educational coordination, incubation to employment through employer and educational partnerships, and the essential work place skills needed for new and existing workers. The adult schools in Tulare County work very closely with our partners, including the coordination of services. And it shows through our longstanding partnerships. This funding opportunity will allow us to continue the work that we have started. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to receiving these funds so that we can continue that work. So thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the panel?
Could you explain for me a little bit better your justification for the wage modification request?
Yeah, I think that just came, I don't know, Jill, do you want to kind of talk a little bit on that as far as?
Yeah, so it's allied workers, it's Central Valley. I do believe, did we just go to 19?
We
though?
did, yeah.
Okay, so we just went to 19. So it is increasing, but it is
So 19 is now the
you.
minimum wage.
minimum.
For
Right.
Okay, so staff, can we get that reflected, please,
Yeah.
in
Eh,
what we approved today?
Yeah, and so conversation around the table and being part of the committee is some of the wages, just even for medical assistant, those are looking at, set to increase here in the near future. So that will definitely make a difference too, because you're going to see those other areas start increasing as well.
Right, this
Yeah.
program and the funding is very much connected to
Yes.
high road jobs, and we really want to see that wage progression. So when an
Absolutely.
applicant is asking for wage the other way,
Yes.
doesn't sit very well, so.
Yeah. No, thank you for that.
Can I I just have a point of clarification, just so that I understand what you need staff to do. So the minimum wage in this proposal for job one, which is the incumbent workers,
19.
is 19. That's correct. But right here for the new hire, it's 18. Is that what?
Right, so I just heard them say it's now 19. Is that
So
correct?
we're moving to 10. Okay, perfect. Just wanted to clarify. Great.
I know it's only $1, but it means a lot.
It does. It
Yeah.
makes a difference, especially in our area as well. So any other questions?
So your current contract, you're at about 36% currently. Has it increased, knowing you're at the 50% mark? Are you on track?
So-
Where are we on that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm the administrator, so
Yeah.
they're at about 65%.
Okay.
Both the adult schools just don't want to enter people until they've completed training,
That's-
they've
totally
completed
understand that.
retention, all that stuff. So about 65%.
About 65% with retention. We just haven't
Right.
gone in and updated. Okay.
So we just completed our spring and summer programs, depending on which adult school. Myself, our spring classes ended in May. Those students have taken their state boards, they've been hired. They've got to meet that 90-day retention mark, and then you'll start seeing those complete. So we will meet target on that by the 2024 due date.
Yeah, I see there's an estimated number, but
Yes.
not actually a number of complete. So if we
Yes.
could have, that would be great. The other thing you have, I'm just curious, you're very much like the Visalia, Tulare area. You have Madera County on there as well as a wage. Are you seeing it progressing up the valley or really predominantly in your local area? On your wages? Are you
On the
looking at
wages?
employers coming in? Because your wages are showing Fresno, Madera, Tulare. I
Right.
know you guys are very much centered sort of in the Tulare County area, so heavily with the Visalia and that piece. Are you seeing the progression of this contract reaching those counties as well, or is it more just as a backup if we're not meeting it in that area to then go to those employers in that
Yeah,
region?
so-
And how would you deliver that?
Yeah, so
training?
that's a great question. So we definitely utilize all of our healthcare partners in our area where we go out to, say for Visalia, our other, so that would be like my surgical tech program, and that adult school doesn't offer that program. So those students are completing their clinical hours at Kauai Health. Okay, or say in Kern, if we, reach out to Kern, that's a program that they currently don't have right now.
Okay.
And so those are the only programs, or phlebotomy. That's a program that Visalia Adult School doesn't currently have, or pharmacy tech. But the other programs, we stay local we utilize Family Healthcare Network that's in our area for those students to complete their clinical skills on that site. So we're local. We don't go out into the other area. We definitely work very closely together in coordinating services. That's why we meet monthly, not only with our healthcare providers, but with the adult ed directors and principals, and also the Workforce Investment Board of Tulare County. We're all around the table, and we have great meetings. So yeah.
And within Family and Healthcare Network, which was last month, I'm their contractor as well. We had planned between Visalia, Porterville, Family Healthcare Network, how it was all going to coordinate, which occupations, which locations, all of that stuff. So.
Like to hear. Okay, does anyone else have any questions?
Motion to approve contract number ET 24-0126 in the amount of $749,885.
With a friendly amendment that the now minimum wage for job number 2 is at 19.
Correct.
Second.
Any discussions on this proposal and any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Motion adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, panel. Thank you, panel members. Under tab 12, we have Soma AEC Incorporated doing business as Oxman College. They are requesting a total of $734,310 for a total support cost of $47,760. The request includes the training of 45 retrainees, 104 job creation trainees, 21 in job 3, high unemployment area retrainees, and then 29 high unemployment job creation trainees. So we have a total of 4 job numbers. As I mentioned, this does include job creation, and they are. I also mentioned they are included in. They are in an area of high unemployment. Some trainees in jobs 3 and 4 work in these areas, a region which exceeds the state average of at least 25%. For these trainees, the panel may modify the ETP minimum wage up to 25% if the post-retention wages exceed the pre-retention wage. Approximately 40 certified nurses, mental health aide, mental health worker, patient care assistants, physical therapy aides, respiratory techs, and restorative nursing assistants will need the wage modification. This project will be Oxman's 17th ETP contract and the 6th in the last 5 years. With regards to the participating employers, they too have Adventist Health and Rideout, which are located in Yuba City, not cities that were located in the other Adventist participating employer. Here representing Soma is Michael Dorvikin, President and CEO, along with Sonia Putgach. She is the program director.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, panel members. We're really excited to be here and present our proposal. As you know, as a multiple employer contractor, we work with companies located in various areas across California. We provide customized training at each participating employer site using our school's instructors. We've worked with ETP for 30 years. This is actually our 18th ETP contract. We're finishing up one in August. And this is designed with the same on-site training setting. As shown in prior projects table, all our previous contracts were completed statewide with 100% performance. We have assigned dedicated staff to manage each of the projects and have set clear objectives and deliverables. We have a program director and a program coordinator fully dedicated to the healthcare proposal, and the other program director and program coordinator fully dedicated to the core proposal. As I just mentioned, we have one of our contracts finishing up in August. That was about $600,000. We carried out concurrently with our expansion. We have completed over 100% of hours in both contracts and expect to achieve 100% performance. In our current core contract, we train 220 participants. In our expansion contract, we train 270 participants. We will have all retention finished by August and are on track to achieve 100% placements. We expect to do the same for these proposals. And in terms of the Adventist Hospital that was mentioned, our facility is located in Yuba City in Northern California and is not the same as the other facilities mentioned.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the panel?
Yes. Sorry, gathering information. So I visited your website that you posted in your application, just as, curious person. And when I scroll down on the homepage and I click on school performance fact sheet, and then it sends me to a fact sheet where it says on-time completion rates. And this is for a computer programmer, but it looks like it's indicative of the entire system or facility. For year 2020, number of students who began the program, 0, number of students available for graduation, 0, number of on-time graduates, 0, on-time completion rates, 0. It's a very startling thing to land on as a panel member. That's kind of looks like an official document that's posted on your homepage saying that there's no completion rates for students enrolled. What is this about?
Panel member, I will explain.
Speak into the microphone, please.
We have 2 different type of training.
Okay.
One of the New Harris when we did it, because it's COVID, we don't provide it right now in New Harris in place. And this is usually, not usually, must be indicated in front page of the our website, home website. This is requirement BPPE, which we approve.
I'm familiar with SOMA because, this is your 17th contract, and you typically come before us for training in computer programming, computer applications, and you state that in your application. This is for healthcare. So I want to learn a little bit more about how your healthcare education is going to be successful.
I will finish up. When we did it, we do corporation training, which we do now. It doesn't matter for engineering, for healthcare, for anyone. We don't have to report it because why do we have all this information?
Yeah.
Why do we? Because they want to protect it to the student. In this scenario, student doesn't pay anything, right? So because they're getting free, and we contacted to the employers, and in healthcare, we're doing from, 15 years we're doing in healthcare, and we prepare different contract. We saw all contracts and previously. We prepare for entry level job. Of course, easier in higher salary for hospital, which is Kaiser pay, for instance, 75, 65, 45. We're talking about, in this is program actually, in your guideline, if you look at the back, in January, they see for entry-level job, and this is what we're doing, entry-level job, and how they're gonna progress. And of course, we wanna see it ourselves, and we create a lot of, for instance, 2 programs which we're gonna offer. And right now, it's very powerful program. Crisis Prevention Institute provided. This is certificate program, and our instructor actually next month going to have a training. She already has a training because she worked with us for 15 years. All our people working for a long time, and she getting a recertification right now, and she will be offering to smaller or bigger one psychiatry, because she was working before as a full-time administrator, and not administrator, psychiatric hospital. So we're going to offer also through our curricula this is type of training.
So I guess what I'm still trying to grapple with is what is a private post-secondary vocational school
Mhm.
that has traditionally provided computer programming and computer applications and that kind of training is now providing medical training
So we
to
do,
medical.
we have also a medical training
okay.
too, of course. We doing this is for 15.
And it's statewide too. So I'm
Yes.
struggling as a panel member with how you're providing this training statewide to these
Oh,
different
okay.
Mhm.
trainees
Sonia will be
in
on-
person
Okay.
Yeah.
and
We
I had the
did
same
it.
proceeding to like,
Right, so.
When you look at the
Okay,
website,
Sonia will be
because
give
when you look at the website, it very clearly states San Francisco area, because I had the same
right,
question.
exactly.
When I look at the website, I was like, it just says San Francisco, and I'm like, all of these employers are statewide.
Or
we have-
elsewhere.
But all your employees, yeah, not in all in the
Exactly.
Bay Area. And so Sonia kind of slightly touched on it around you go out. So is the model
Right,
is
so we-
you deploy instructors out to these different areas and you pay their travel, their expenses to teach from your, it's like understanding that model,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when I look at it, it looks as one campus
Exactly. but it's
across,
not.
and you're looking like you're going across the state,
Right.
but there's one campus. So that was a question for my clarification as well. It's like,
Right.
how do you deliver this? What's the model? And I think to Gretchen's point, the numbers of enrollment are looking super, like your success rates on the website look very low. So the faith into this, and are there successful programs? Because I know you've had multiple contracts. How in the healthcare side, which doesn't seem as prominent on the website either, are you planning to be successful? What's the model, et cetera, is what I think you're trying to get to, correct?
Yes.
Correct, yeah, so
exactly.
this is the model we've actually used on all our
She
ETP
will explain very detailed.
contracts. We go out to these facilities, so the training is done on site at these facilities. We have instructors in those areas where those facilities are located.
Okay.
In any high unemployment area, we either have local instructors there, or we will send our instructors from our school to those areas for that temporary project. And a little bit more in detail of how we're able to do this. So we have 2 program directors.
Majority our training, 70%, if you look at it's Bay Area, by the way, few of them, just only of them. For additional compensation, people will, because people stay with us, and supported us. We not laid off people stay with us from one project to another project. So they willing, we already talk, if necessary, if we will not find out qualified instructor, for instance, for an area which we're not doing yet much businesses, then we're gonna recruit trainers for our curriculum.
And then we have 2 program directors, one for the core project, one for the nonprofit healthcare project. So the program director will coordinate training with each participating hospital or nursing facility. The company representative will help us to set up a class schedule and provide a list of qualified trainees. Upon completion of the training, they will help us to verify retention information. The program director will also collect training rosters from instructors. Instructors maintain training rosters and mail the completed rosters to our main office through certified mail on a weekly basis. The school administrator handles hours, tracking, and reporting in the online ETP system, Cal eForce. For training, we have a team of instructors that includes experienced nurses residing in San Francisco Bay Area, in Sacramento, and in South California. For facilities located in remote areas, as I mentioned, such as Fresno or Yuba City, we may send some of our instructors for a temporary assignment to that area, or we will hire local instructors for this project. Our instructors for the medical skills program are nurses with many years' experience. Some of them are semi-retired, or they will teach after work. We will also provide continuous improvement and team building classes for healthcare facilities. These classes are provided on site or through video conference. In addition, in our core contract, we also provide training through video conferencing Zoom with an instructor for classroom training for computer skill advancement for architects and engineers. Trainees can attend these classes remotely from any part of California. Another thing we'd like to specify is that the trainees we work with are all currently employed. They're either incumbent workers or newly hired employees under job creation. We do not have any new hires that are unemployed in this project. Would that
So-
help?
So if I'm
clear up?
hearing it, you are, I'm going to say a three-pronged approach. It's almost like a broker with an ETP contract to say, hey, we've got money. How can we help you? Let me see if we can find you someone who can teach this for you. Then there's an element where you may have a faculty in that region who you are going to deploy out. And then other times it's sort of a mix of between all of it. Is that right? And like, I'm just going to use Kern, for example. They have a faculty who are going out and they're deploying that training in that area. They know they have the faculty, they're coming and they're doing that schooling. You're kind of like a combination of, here's the college, you can come to us, or we can deploy, or we can maybe find you people in the local area, but we have that mech to deploy the funds. Is that a correct
Right.
summary of the three
Right, we
prongs?
have 15, today, we have 15 instructor in 5 support staff of the people.
But they
who
may be
we-
adjunct, they're not necessarily full-time, year-round.
Right,
staff.
some of the full-time,
Some are
of them-
full-time,
they've
some
been
are
with us
adjunct.
for a long
So you are
time.
kind of like that three-pronged. You're not like where I'm going to use like a Kern or some of the others where they have 100%
No.
faculty who are deployed directly to this program to teach this curriculum ongoing.
I mean, most
regardless
of
if
them
there's
teach
ETP
ongoing,
contracts or-
the similar classes, but ongoing, they've been with us for a long time.
Thoughts?
I mean,
Because I can see your, I can see you're thinking, I can see you, yeah.
I'm uncomfortable
I know,
right
I can-
now
Can
on
you give
this.
us
It's
some,
just,
I was going to say, can you give us some examples of success or where you have done healthcare before? Because I think my piece is, there's not a lot of healthcare on the website and we're about to
Right.
deploy, you know, you're asking
And
for
this
the amount
program is
you're asking,
healthcare.
and this is specifically very focused to healthcare. Can you give us some of the places where you have done that? I
will
think
give
more
you
so
success
not in
story.
San Francisco, but more
Success story.
regionally, correct? Gretchen, you would want more like that
I
regional.
think we
than-
should have added that definitely on our website, which would have been
Okay.
helpful
yeah,
because we do have it.
where I'm struggling most with is the benefit and the value to the trainee. And I want to see more of a connection between the trainee, the student, with the education that they're receiving and the training so that they can progress in their wages in their career.
Oh, yeah.
That's always my kind of route to get me to a yes. I'm not seeing that here. This feels very much like a middleman kind of concept of,
So we work with all these multiple employers all over. I've personally connected with all of them. They're all
Yeah.
really excited with, to do our training in terms of wage progression. They're all on top of it. So they're excited about this. That's exactly the model we've been using for the other contracts that we've had, and we have like 100% success. Success.
right, the other contracts were a little bit more computer-based. You could do things online. This is medical.
Yeah, honestly,
too,
we have like a
so-
waiting list of people for even this not healthcare participants right now who would do like this model and do like the fact that we come with our skilled instructors to these participating facilities.
And you're not a medical facility or medical training facility. The trainees are not coming to you at Oxford. You are, again, deploying your instructors somewhere in the state to go somewhere. Where are they going when they're providing this training? To like a healthcare, one of the,
So at either a nursing home, or a skilled nursing home facility
Uh-huh.
or a hospital, we train at that facility. I think that's what makes it
and the
really
trainee
appealing
as an
to-
enrollee through Oxford, where are they going in their education? So
So we have.
how are they advancing with their
CNAs,
certifications?
like up-leveling their skills, CNAs to become LVNs, LVNs to RNs, so they're advancing their skills.
Okay, what the benefits some of the some of them actually were from our especially non-profit, we find out actually higher pay than for profit. So we compare to, we were surprised actually. Additional to benefit, additional salary, they pay like $10,000 for $5,000 for tuition fee reimbursement. They also pay today because shortage so great, so critical right now. They pay refer fee $10,000. You stay 1 year, you got addition to their salary 10,000. I never see that. This is for last 6 months salary if we had statistic, I put it people to walk over there and find out what the salary is, this area, that jump 2, 3, some of them even $5 because they desperately needed to the entry-level worker. They don't have problem to register nurse, for instance. Actually, they do because in nursing home, they don't state. When they got experience in nursing home, they go to the acute hospital and instead of getting $40, they're getting $75, $80. Problem, I talked to one of the administrators, we have this, we don't have problem actually, no, we don't have problem with LVN because they typically stay. So this is a really great program. And you asked one of the good good actually stories. With I came to the one of the nursing home and say, why do you have such a, because it is nursing facility and they have very few, I mean, very few turnover rates, like 5%. I say, what? This is because we train people every year, 40 hours, team building training. How powerful is this? Is, I would say, success story. A little bit because we have 2 contracts, this may be not related. We trained manufacturer many years ago. And after that, after the training, again, team building, people start to work together. Productivity increase about 5%. 5%. It's like team, you running.
I think I've just been doing a bit of a deeper dive into the applications. We've been listening and talking. I think when I'm looking at this, you have a lot of what I call onesie twosies in the application. So you have one person here in job category 1 of one title, then one in here, then you suddenly got 60 CN or 60 care assistants. To me, I think part of the worry here as we're hearing it is you have like one person, is a lot of one-on-one class time, because a lot of these jobs, you've got one person in each of the categories. So I think as we look at this, that's probably another concern coming in.
And then the weighted average for number of hours received
Yeah.
wage training is 150.
Yeah, it
So
just,
how are-
it feels looking at it a bit disjointed with, we've got people coming in from all over. There's one job here, one there, and then you've got some 60 bucks. Not that it's right or wrong. A lot of these applications are very focused on certain occupations per category. So we're seeing like 60 RNs, we're seeing 60 LVNs in the different categories. This has a lot of single ones. And I guess I'm thinking about for the learner, for yourselves as well, stretching across all these different, is that the most effective? Now, I'm not going to tell you how most effective to to run your business, but that feels very that way.
Right. Exactly. So what if we took that concept and then funded this for the job numbers that are attributed to their localized area?
We could, or we could look at coming back with some success stories of like in these regions,
Yeah,
the
that would be
partnerships,
helpful.
and maybe look at the job titles to see, is it really this spread out or should it be tighter
That would
in
be
those
helpful.
cases? I think maybe
like
it
that.
needs a revisit. And back next, Rick, you've got I could see you.
So would that be like a motion to table this to another,
Mhm.
allow them time to?
And to pinpoint to some of the concerns of location and training.
Okay.
So I have a question. So right now we have, all these multiple employers that are definitely eager and excited, and we're looking forward to us coming out to them. And that's actually a big thing. They're like, oh, wow, do we have to go to you guys? And, when we said like, we bring our instructors to you and train them, that's what got them excited. So I'm just kind of, my understanding is how, right now, what would you want us to, do? Come back to those employers? What would you want them to tell us? How would you want us to reform everything if this is the model they were really hoping for? And that's what we've been doing. I understand it's not the healthcare that we're focusing on, but it's the healthcare now. And we've done it successfully. I know we can do it. It sounds like San Francisco Bay Area, it's very large, but it's really not that far to drive an hour here, an hour there. I do it all the time.
90% of all of the training which we did it for 5, 7, 10 years, we done it for healthcare. We do very few for architecture, engineers. So this is our experience. All our contract has been actually done at 100%, and so not much difference than previously. We got 2 contracts, similar contract, 600,000. We completed with 100%, and we have happy employers. What we have, so what's the difference?
I don't see why we can't provide the similar results
Can-
as any previous.
Can I ask a clarifying question? It sounds like Ms. Newsome and Ms. Bendecourt is what you're asking is for SOMA to come back to the panel and be very intentional and specific with regard to the track record only with healthcare and and with regards to the method, the delivery method, as far as the trainer to trainee connection to those remote areas, inclusive of the item that you mentioned with regards where you only have, let's say, 1 trainee planned in a very specific type of occupation. So in other words, kind of push aside the track records with regards to engineering and those kinds of things, and then only come back with some track record specifics, qualitative and quantitative specifics, just with regards to healthcare. And we understand that this is not a new hire, so there is a little difference with regards to accreditation and so far, those types of things. But aside from that, I think the panel is still asking for those assurances that there is that quality training and the method is also intentional to those healthcare occupations and training topics.
Yes, and then from my perspective, how the trainee is benefiting directly from this specific training that you're providing. What is their pathway to certifications and to advancing themselves in their career? That's my perspective.
And the ones with the single employer, the like 1 person there, should we take them off or are we including them in?
Well, it gets a raised eyebrow when you come back with it, but if you're, explaining that to our benefit.
I think just looking at those, if you could say this employer is looking for these ones as well, it just helps to be able to say, yeah, it doesn't look like when I look at the numbers, it looks like we're just trying to throw spaghetti at a wall and hope that we can stick with the numbers that we're throwing to hope that we can recoup. So in this way, we're able to say, yes, look, we can see that they're tied to this employer and it's very clear that we are doing 1s and 2s, but it's because we're benefiting an employer with 10 different job titles for that one employer through that medical care. And then to Gretchen's point, like that progression that allows them to cross over.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second. Tabling.
Second to table. Okay. So do I have any discussion from the panel to table this? I have a further discussion? And any comment from the public? So all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Okay, so now we're getting to the 4th and final healthcare multiple employer contract, and then we'll follow up with the single employer ones. So under tab 13, we have Visalia Adult School, Visalia Unified School District. They're requesting a total of $749,885, inclusive of the support costs, 8% for job 1 incumbent workers, and the additional 4% up to 12% for the new hire job creation. Under job 1, they are requesting for a plan 260 incumbent workers, retrainees in high unemployment areas, as well as 115 new hires, unemployed individuals also to be trained in the high unemployment areas. Because this is a new hire, we do want to be intentional with regards to, Visalia is representing that the students enrolled in the ETP funded program will not be charged tuition fees or any other costs associated with training. The representation will be made as a condition of the contract. As I mentioned, these are both job numbers have trainees in high unemployment area. They are asking for a wage modification. For job one, the incumbents down to $19. And then for job two, down to $18 for approximately 95 trainees in job one, and which are comprised of phlebotomists, medical assistants, community care workers, and certified nurse assistants, and then 15 phlebotomists and community healthcare workers in the job two. They are, as I mentioned, asking for the additional 4% support costs up to 12% for the new hire trainees for the additional screening and placement activities that does require and the respective cost. They currently do also have a ETP funded core program. And at the time of the publishing, we're at 33%, and I know they can provide you with some more updated statistics on that. Like their partners in Porterville Unified School District, there is one error, and that's Foundation for Medical Care. That's a for-profit.
And it's not an error.
Okay.
They have two branches. So we found that they have part of theirs is a for-profit branch, and then part is a 501.
Okay, perfect.
Pays taxes. So
Great.
They are both.
Great. So thank you for that.
Yes.
And then secondly, like with Porterville, they have the two participating employers who also have their own single employer or will have a healthcare agreement. And then they have also Adventist Health, which is located in Visalia. So I'm sure they'll be able to answer any questions that they were not asked with Porterville and with regards to participating employers.
Good morning, panel members. Thank you again for allowing us to come before you. Again, I'm Tammy Olson, principal of Visalia Adult School, part of Visalia Unified School District and the Sequoia's Adult Ed Consortium. Like Porterville, we are also part of the healthcare task force for our workforce investment board, and we work very closely in those partnerships with all the healthcare employers in our area, as well as our college and Porterville Adult and Tulare Adult. In our county, employees are in high demand, as you have heard before, and we have been fortunate to be in longstanding with 3 different nonprofit medical agencies. And as of last year, we have come into a partnership with our county. And so now we have clinical sites at our Tulare County Health Services and their clinics as well. They are not mentioned because they were a partner that just came on, but we're excited that that expands our clinical experiences for all of our programs. So we started with just vocational nursing, and they now want to expand to all allied health entry-level positions. So our community health workers, our medical assistants, as well as medical billing and coding, which isn't part of this, but some more opportunities for clinicals within our county, which is very exciting for us. With this funding, we'll be able to provide access to continuing education in the medical career pathways for our current employers, and in turn help serve our community to a greater capacity. So I think many of the questions were answered prior, but if there are any questions that you have of me or any more points of clarification, I'd be happy to answer those now.
On job 2, it's 19.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't add that. And actually, we are pushing our hospital, Kauai Health. They are the lowest paying right now and so they're having a hard time competing with our for-profit organizations, especially long-term care. And so we have been in talks with them to increase their wage for CNAs in particular, so that they will get more hires and not all of our folks won't go to the for-profit facilities.
Sounds like it's helping to raise this tide for all at the same time with this kind of process. Are there any other questions from the panel?
Motion to approve Visalia Adult School, Visalia Unified School District, contract number ET 24-0124 in the amount of $749,885.
Second. Thank you. Any discussions from the panel on this proposal? Any comments from the public on this proposal?
No hands raised.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? Motion adopted.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, panel members. I'll be presenting the proposals developed in the San Diego Regional Office. If you will please turn to tab number 14, Dignity Health. This would be Dignity Health's first ETP contract. Dignity Health is requesting $450,000 in total ETP funding, and they plan to train a total of 250 retrainees in job number 1. Dignity Health has 3 affiliates in 18 locations across the state of California that will be participating in this project. With the assistance of ETP funds, Dignity Health plans to continue to expand the nurse residency program as there is demonstrated evidence of its success. Specifically, Dignity Health will expand its evidence-based practice blended learning program. Here today representing Dignity Health and ready to address questions from the panel is Karen Magnani, Southern California Division Director.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay? All right. As everybody's been talking about, there is a persistent and dangerous shortage of nursing professionals, and it's really threatening to undermine the access to healthcare in the state of California. A lot of this is due in part to nurses leaving the profession at an unprecedented rate. Dignity Health works with academic partners to increase the number of nursing graduates and the diversity of our nursing staff. The nurse residency program complements Dignity Health's other endeavors designed to bring qualified entry-level nurses into the workforce and retain them in sustainable high-wage careers. Dignity Health, which is part of Common Spirit Health, has 3 affiliates and 18 locations throughout California that will participate in this project. With the assistance of the ETP funds, Dignity Health plans to continue to expand the nurse residency program as there is demonstrated evidence of its success. Specifically, Dignity Health will expand its evidence-based practice blended learning program that utilizes Canvas as its learning management system. The nurse residents will be required to complete online training as pre-work before they attend a bi-weekly class where they will actually take the information they learned in the pre-work and apply it using case studies, using the flipped classroom style. We're going to really be, they're going to do 70% of their learning with a trained preceptor at the bedside with their nurses, with the real with real patients. 20% of learning occurs in coaching and mentoring. Part of this is a mentoring program, and 10% of the time will be spent in a classroom. We also, Dignity Health and Common Spirit has a Veterans Initiative pathway, a VIP pathway that offers service members transitioning out of the military along with their spouses and veterans. They actually have a pathway to healthcare careers. And our goal is to increase the amount of military spouses and military members that are transitioning back to healthcare into our workforce. Wage progressions, our wage progression, it really varies from a facility to facility. Our CBAs help dictate our wage progression, but after they complete their first year, the resident nurse residents will have 3 to 5% increase in their salary.
Thank you. Any questions from the panel? Is there a motion to approve the proposal?
Motion to approve contract number ET 24-0120 in the amount of $450,000.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussions from the panel on this proposal? Any comment from the public on this proposal? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
If you will please turn to tab number 15, Lodi Memorial Hospital Association, Inc. This would be Lodi Memorial Hospital's first ETP contract. Lodi Memorial Hospital is requesting $498,755 total ETP funding. They plan to train a total of 65 retrainees over 2 job numbers. Lodi Memorial Hospital provides both inpatient and outpatient services to patients in the greater Lodi, Stockton, Tracy, Elk Grove, Manteca, and South Sacramento area. The assistance of ETP funds, Lodi Memorial Hospital will be able to continue to recruit, hire, train, and retrain healthcare workers to ensure that the hospital system can continue to deliver excellent care to patients. Here today representing Lodi Memorial Hospital, ready to address questions from the panel, is Katie Delmore, Finance Officer, Vladimir Batat, Consultant.
Good morning, panel members. As we just heard, my name is Katie Delmer, and I am the Finance Officer at Lodi Memorial Hospital. And along with me is Latimer Batat, who is our consultant and has helped in the preparation of this grant. And Lodi Memorial is a community hospital. We serve the community of Lodi and surrounding communities. And our program is very similar to the Dignity Health program you just heard many details about. We train our experienced nurses to train new graduates who don't have any bedside experience. So the funding of this program would help us continue that program. We train about 50 new graduates per year at the bedside, in the classroom, so that they get the combination of skills that they need. After about 20 weeks, these nurses are ready to treat patients on them. So if there are any other questions, we are happy to address.
Does the panel have any questions? Is
Thank
there a
you.
motion to approve?
Motion to approve the Lodi Memorial Hospital Association contract at an amount of $498,755.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the panel on this proposal? Any comment from the public on this proposal? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
If you will please turn to tab number 16, Pasadena Hospital Association LTD. This would be Pasadena Hospital's third ETP contract and the second in the last 5 years. Pasadena Hospital is requesting $496,938 in total ETP funding. They plan to train a total of 554 retrainees over 2 job numbers. Pasadena Hospital serves patients in and around the Los Angeles County. With the assistance of ETP funds, training proposed will equip their staff with progressive medical and soft skills, in addition to revolutionizing patient care through the gains of knowledge needed to perform jobs efficiently and accurately. Pasadena Hospital's active project currently has 9,261 reimbursable hours uploaded in ETP's system for potential earnings of $174,570, which is 35% of the approved amount. Here today representing Pasadena Hospital and ready to address questions from the panel is Rodney Chan, Director of Clinical Resources, and Bill Sachs, Consultant.
Hi, good morning, Madam Chair and panel. My name is Rodney Chan. I am the Interim Director of Clinical Resources at Pasadena Hospital Association, DBA Huntington Hospital. I'm here in the interim position representing the hospital, as our previous director unexpectedly passed away earlier this year. This will explain why our completion rate is at 35%. Our training has continued throughout this time, and we are certain that we are at 100%, if not better, at completing the training for reimbursement for the first project. We're here seeking funds for support of our nurse residency program. Our new grad nurse residency program is recognized by the American Nurses Association with distinction. And I, in my new role, retain oversight of this residency program to continue the oversight of the program to continue bringing nurses into the hospital. We're seeking to develop a pipeline to bring student nurses into the program earlier so that we can transition them into the nursing program quicker and get them into the workforce. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Under wage progression, you have for new nurses that have not yet received their licenses, you start them off as interns for 2 years of instruction. It's at a slightly lower amount. But what if one of those persons, one of the interns receives their license, like in the first year, do they then jump in the wages and then in the reclassification of themselves?
Yes, so
Okay.
they start off as becoming student nurse interns. If they do get their license, they become student nurse residents.
Right.
And
But they can do
when-
so before the 2 years?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And when the program for the residency program opens up to formally become an RN and hire into the RN position, we will onboard them at a higher rate again. So there's progression very quickly in that year.
Thank you.
Any other questions from panel? My only piece, and my condolences on the passing of your prior director. I think the only piece is keeping that up to date in the system so that we're seeing those retainees, we're seeing those numbers trained, so that when you're coming towards panel, we're seeing progress, because 35% is pretty low when you close that contract. Its term is March of next year, so you're 9 months out. Just have a sight. So totally understand the situation, but if we can look at upping those, making sure that's getting updated, that would be fantastic.
Yes, we're actively working on that and should get that uploaded in the next couple months.
Motion to approve the Pasadena Hospital Association and a contract amount of $496,938.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the panel? Any comment from the public on this proposal? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? Your motion is adopted.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just for the record, tab 17, Torrance Memorial Medical Hospital has been withdrawn from the panel packet and from the Healthcare Workforce Advancement Fund.
Good morning, panel members. Next, we have tab 18, a healthcare workforce advancement proposal from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Please note there is a correction to the contract term length section in the 130. This section should reflect Cedars-Sinai, not Hoag Memorial. Cedars-Sinai is a repeat contractor requesting $499,928 to train 247 workers. Training will take place at Cedars-Sinai's locations in Los Angeles. Here representing Cedars-Sinai to answer any questions are Jeanette Moreno, Director of Department of Nursing and Education, Juliana Kirby, Consultant, Training Funding Partners.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the panel. My name is Jeanette Moreno, and I'm the Director of Nursing Education at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center located in Los Angeles, California. And I would like to sincerely extend my thank you to Juliana Kirby from Training Funding Partners for being such a great partner in consultation of this service, as well as Jesse Dongal from the Sacramento office for his very invaluable assistance in preparing our ETP proposal. We currently have a current ETP expansion fund project that has allowed us to hire amazing 312 new grad nurses over the past 16 months. And all of this filled critical roles within our hospital. And we currently are tracking about 20,432 reimbursable hours in the ETP system, which is about 94% of our award. And we expect to be at 100% by the end of next month. I want to thank the panel sincerely for considering our new proposal for additional funding that will allow us to continue to provide critical services and critical care to our workforce and subsequently hire new employees to meet our increasing demands. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Does the panel have questions?
Yes. Familiar with Cedars-Sinai, because I took my son there in an emergency room situation when he was very young once. So I do follow the news, and you've made some news of late,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't look very good. You want to address that?
Sure. We are very aware of the unfortunate event back in 2016. This was about 8 years ago. So that has received such great national attention. And since then, we know that we have been very deeply committed to healthcare equity and advancing the care of our Black maternal health population. In fact, in 2021, 2022, We were awarded top for the Black doctors that come for the service that we provide. And we have a couple of highlights that I'd like to share with you. Internally, it's all a learning environment, a quality improvement process, and we analyze obstetrics, maternal outcomes by race and by ethnicity. We also provide ongoing orientation as well to our new hires around implicit bias, to our staff and all our physicians, our new grad, and we do that on an annual basis. We collaborate with a lot of hospitals across Los Angeles, and we partner with Cherished Futures for Black moms and babies. We also work with the California Maternal Quality of Care Collaborative to develop standards, and we have so far distributed around 2.2 million grant funding to the LA County-based nonprofit seeking improvement for Black maternal health. So that is so far, we are highly committed to that.
Staff, I haven't been in receipt of a copy of the DEI policy. Does that look okay in your opinion?
Yes, I believe.
Meets our standards.
Just like a 1/2 page.
It's right. It's
Mine
right. The
says-
last page of the.
Attached, and I can't find the attachment. Scrolling.
Okay. You made me look.
Page 304 of mine, if that
Okay.
helps you. If that helps.
Yes, it's very limited.
Yeah, very limited.
Diversity is not a destination, it's a journey. Our focus in areas such as workforce and data analytics, employee engagement, leadership, accountability, community partnerships help to influence our culture to support. And then there's a link to go and find and a video. I'm hopeful that that policy on DEI, diversity, inclusion, or equity and inclusion can be more robustly developed and provided to the panel at a later hearing, but I'll be fine for today.
Most definitely.
Thank
Thank you.
It is a component of this program, so.
Any other questions from the panel? There a motion to approve the proposal?
Motion to approve Cedar Sinai's contract. I just lost my page, sorry.
I can't get that.
In an amount of $499,928.
Exactly, thank you.
Second.
Okay, any discussion from the panel? And any comment from the public on this proposal? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you, panel. Next, we have tab 19, a healthcare workforce advancement proposal from Hoag Memorial Hospital Presbyterian. They are a repeat contractor requesting $499,928 to train 247 workers. Training will take place at Hoag Memorial's hospital's locations in Newport Beach and Irvine. Here representing Hoag Memorial Hospital to answer any questions are Kim Mullen, Nursing Education Director, Juliana Kirby, Consultant Training Funding Partners.
Hi, good morning, Madam Chair, panel members. My name, as stated, is Kim Mullen. I'm the Director for Nursing Education at Hoag Memorial Hospital in Newport Beach, California. And so I'm here to, first of all, thank Jesse Delgado from the Sacramento field of office for his valuable assistance in preparation for this ETP fund proposal. We currently do have an ETP fund. We have been aggressively training new hires, new grads, and basically we have made all of our hours, and we are anticipating 100% of our funding award. So I would gratefully like to thank you all, the panel, for considering this new proposal. This allows us to continue our training for our new graduate nurses and continuing training for our staff along with our patient care assistants, seeing a lot of our patient care assistants attending school and going on to an RN position. So we still have a lot of work to do. And so this will assist our increased demands. I'm happy to answer any questions.
My only slight is making sure we keep the system updated with completed training and number retained. It looks like we're at 105% already of that contract. Just making sure that's updated.
Motion to approve the Hoag Memorial Hospital Presbyterian and an ETP funding amount of $499,928.
Second.
Thank you.
Discussion from the panel. Any comment from the public? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
Tab 20 is a healthcare workforce advancement proposal from Mission Hospital Regional Medical Center, DBA Providence Mission Hospital. They are a repeat contractor requesting $499,928 to train 247 workers. Training will take place at Mission Hospital's locations in Mission Viejo and Laguna Beach. Here representing Mission Hospital, answering questions are Genevieve Grable, nurse educator, Juliana Kirby, consultant, training funding partners.
Ms. Chair and members of the panel, my name is Genevieve Grable. I am a nurse educator at Providence Mission Hospital. I'd like to thank Jesse Dongallo from the Sacramento Field Office for his valuable assistance in preparing the ETP proposal. Our hospitals continue to struggle to meet the demand for skilled healthcare workers, which was a concern even before the pandemic. And we anticipate over 300 openings for nursing alone in the next 3 years. I want to thank the panel for considering our proposal for funds that will allow us to hire new employees to meet our growing patient needs and provide critical skills to our workforce. I thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Could you elaborate a little bit for me about the wage progression for the 2 occupation titles that you're training? Specifically, I want you to focus on the entry-level nurses and the registered nurses. I see a wage range of $36.24 up to $90.16 an hour.
Correct.
So how quickly are people progressing to a higher wage from the $36.24 upwards?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, we have a clinical ladder, and it really depends on their level of where they're starting at and where they're progressing to. So generally, I would answer your question to say about a year from that RN1 new grad to the RN2, which is our clinical nurse. And then from a Clin 3 to a Clin 4, of course, there's more time and commitment and more evidence has to be done to progress them from a Clin 3 to a Clin 4.
Okay. And this training is directly connected to their wage progression and doing.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve Mission Hospital Regional Medical Center, DBA Providence Mission Hospital, contract number ET 24-0110, in the amount of $499,928.
Second.
Any discussion from the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, panel. Next, we have tab 21, a healthcare workforce advancement proposal from Pomona Valley Hospital Medical Center. They are a repeat contractor requesting $499,928 to train 247 workers. Training will take place at Pomona Valley Hospital's main location in Pomona. Here representing Pomona Valley Hospital, answer any questions are Ann Mendoza, Director of Clinical Education, Juliana Kirby, Consultant, Training Funding Partners.
Good morning, Ms. Chair and members of the panel. I'm Ann Mendoza, Director of Clinical Education for Pomona Valley Hospital in the city of Pomona. I'd like to thank Jesse Dongallo from the Sacramento Field Office for his valuable assistance in preparing the ETP proposal. We have a current ETP expansion fund project, and we have tracked 23,651 reimbursable hours in ETP system through July 10th, 2023 for over 100% performance. This funding has allowed us to hire and train critical RN roles within our hospital to meet the demands of our patient population. We are grateful for the opportunity to apply for additional funding, and I want to thank the panel for considering our new proposal. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? I had one very minor. It was in your union support letter. The numbers don't match the numbers that you have in the application.
Yes, when we first submitted our proposal or application, the grant funding amount was higher. And that's when the union proposed for that. I definitely can tell you we're going to train more than what's in that union letter. But when the grant got decreased across the board, then the numbers reflected that. In the
I think
proposal.
you had 100 and 200. Yeah, it was a lot. It's almost a lot, quite a larger amount. I just want to make sure the union's aware and that communication has happened, I guess.
Yes.
Motion to approve the Pomona Valley Hospital Medical Center contract proposal in an amount of $499,928.
Second.
Any discussion from the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
I'll get on to workforce literacy.
All right.
All right, Lola.
Good morning, panel. My name is Robert Meyer. I'm with the Economic Development Unit. I am the replacement for Ryan Swear, who is unable to attend the panel meeting this morning. I'll be reading his projects. Up first will be tab 22, the Greater San Fernando Valley Chamber of Commerce. If you please turn to that panel, part of the panel packet. This is a workforce literacy pilot program proposal for the Greater San Fernando Valley Chamber of Commerce located in the city of Van Nuys. This is a repeat contractor with successful contracting experience, requesting $377,298 in funding to serve 270 retrainees in the following occupations: administrative and customer service staff, managers, supervisors, production staff, and technicians. The training will be provided at participating employer locations. Trainees will attain a certificate of completion and participate in graduation ceremonies at their place of employment. Here representing the Greater San Fernando Valley Chamber of Commerce is Nancy Hoffman-Maniak, CEO, and subcontractor Barry Menzel, Managing Director of Training Funding Source.
Hi, panel. Thanks for having us here today. It's always nice to be able to come before you and talk about the demand that we have in our region and across the state, because our employers, some of them have offices everywhere, and I'm just here to answer any questions you have.
Chair Betancourt, you're just going to see me not be as engaged as I usually am. So I love the program, the pilot program. I believe fully in everything that all the applicants are going to be doing, and providing literacy training is very admirable. My line of questioning always comes down to wages and wage progression, and that's not a part of these applications. So, so we can't see that.
Right.
I would love to ask that.
Yeah.
I would love to learn more about that. I'd love to see higher wages, but that's just not part of this program until things change by
Right.
law. So,
But of course, part of the reason to do that is if you're training these employees to have better literacy and understand things, you're going to be hopefully promoting them, giving them better jobs and better wages as it goes. And that's our
Exactly.
intent.
yes, that is your intent. I share that intent with you, and very admirable. I just can't see that actual progression. So I get a little frustrated, and it's not
Right, right.
directed at you. It's frustrated at the program itself not being able to track that kind of
Yeah.
metric of success.
Well, I
But-
know that when we've been talking to our employers, like for instance, I did a monitoring visit at Porto's, and they have obviously their management, but then they have their line workers. And that's part of the reason why they're doing training, is to advance them. And I was really surprised. Some of the people I talked to at Porto's, they've worked there since high school. So they truly believe in advancing their employees. And that's kind of what we're supporting here, and helping them get those wages up.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I will say I like the curriculum because it's short and concise and very clear that it's literacy. It's not all the other skills on top. So when we look at the purpose of that literacy, I appreciate that short, succinct, I'm going to say, because I know it's going to literacy and not the other technical
Yeah.
skills when that's the
We
purpose.
were very intent in that, because we've done surveys for our business community overall, and that was one of the biggest things that they need.
Okay. Any other questions from the panel?
Great program. Motion to approve Greater San Fernando Valley Chamber of Commerce contract number ET 24-0103 in the amount of $377,298.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the panel? And any comment from the public on this proposal? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
All right, up next, it'll be the Hospitality Industry Training and Education Fund, DBA Hospitality Training Academy. I will refer to it as HTA for the remainder of the discussion. So please turn to tab 23. This is a workforce literacy pilot program proposal again for the HTA located in the city of Los Angeles. This will be HTA's fourth ETP contract and third within the last 5 years. HTA is requesting $141,750 in funding to serve 50 retrainees employed as prep cooks. The trainees are represented by Unite Here Local 11. There's a union letter attached to the project. Training will be provided at the HTA facility. Here representing HTA is Adine Foreman, Executive Director.
Hello.
I'm Eugene Foreman, Executive Director of the HTA. I'm happy to answer any questions. I thank Daniel Tran for helping us with this application. And we want to talk wages. I'm ready to go.
You want to share anything with that? Go ahead. if
Go
you
ahead.
like.
Okay.
Yeah, just
So,
connecting this
uh,
training to wage progression.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what Prep Cook is the sort of the entry line in culinary. We call it prep and pantry in many of our kitchens. The idea is to get folks, immigrants in particular, clearly for this grant, partner in a tandem training situation where it is like an IET or IBEST model. So there's a skills instructor and ESL instructor for a big portion of this, and really get them enough English to move up the ladder. Clearly, Unite Here Local 11 is the labor union in Los Angeles that represents hospitality food service workers. The wages we put down on this were sort of our bottom wages in many of the newer employers coming into the fund. In many of our employers, our prep and pantry cooks are making as much as $25, $30. As many of you may know, they call Los Angeles right now in a hot labor summer. So Unite Here Local 11 has taken, I'm the labor management partnership and the Taft-Hartley Fund, so I'm trying to do this from both sides here. But Local 11 has sort of taken to the streets. They are asking in their contracts for a raise for everybody, 5 years the first year, 3 years the second year, and an additional 3-year raise the third year. So we're hoping, in the context of being Switzerland in the labor management partnership world, we're hoping that people have enough money to live on and live affordably and be self-sufficient in Los Angeles. So our wages, we anticipate, will escalate potentially greatly under the contracts, but the wages that we put down were really the bottom wages that some of the employers pay. But our hotels, from the Ritz-Carlton to the Fairmont to the Four Seasons, all pay much higher wages. And we are doing a great job. We have 100% placement. One of the issues we want to address clearly is that the hospitality industry was decimated by COVID. It is rebounding. It's some hotels, clearly the ones along the coast, have done much better during the summer. The downtown hotels are still waiting for the conferences to come back as the way they were pre-pandemic. But we're seeing, slowly it's coming back. We're clearly all here today. So we are seeing that, and we're hoping that we're going to really have a much better chance to hit 100% in our, recruiting people to come into the program. Once we get them, we have the placement. The problem is getting people out of their houses back into training programs and into jobs.
So I think to that point, I love the way with the wage progressions, but current contract just termed on 6/27, we're at 56%. I don't see completers. I don't see retention on our data. Are you seeing that you're going to project higher than that 56%? Because I do have a slight concern. There's the COVID one made perfect sense. You managed to achieve 100% on the COVID funding you had. The prior one to that as well started at 66%. I know COVID did a number for everyone in lots of different ways. Everyone managed to nearly cap out on their COVID contracts. I think the question is, when I look at the others, training was obviously still happening because we managed the COVID contract. What happened to the other two? Or do you foresee any challenges in the road, can't say world pandemic, in achieving 100% on this contract?
So our employers did not want us to teach culinary even any way, hybrid or remotely. They viewed that culinary must be done in person. And that was really the problem, is that we had our kitchen closed for a very long period of time. And then of course we brought people back as things were going. And then we had one person come in, even though they were wearing masks, and then a whole class would go down, right? So it was hard. I'm hoping that we're sort of through this period, but that's the only way we can run classes. I mean, I can't guarantee you that, listen, the world is the world, right? Like what's going on. I mean, all we can do is run classes and try to extract people as much as possible. We're working with the city, with Los Angeles City Workforce Development Board, the county WIB, to get folks into these jobs. It's just, and I think that after we're done with sort of the contracts that are on strike right now, I think we're going to see a much different Los Angeles with wages in hospitality.
All right, thank you. Questions?
Motion to approve Hospitality Training Academy, contract number ET 24-0115 in the amount of $141,750.
Second.
Any discussion for the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
Terrific. If you'll turn to tab 24, this is a workforce literacy pilot program proposal for the International Rescue Committee, which has 5 locations in California in Santa Clara, San Diego, Alameda, Los Angeles, and Stanislaus counties. This is a first-time contractor requesting $497,475 in funding to serve 335 retrainees employed as cashiers, drivers, food preparers, housekeeper, janitor, security guard, and warehouse worker occupations. The training will be provided at IRC locations throughout the state. Here representing the International Rescue Committee is Erica Boris, Director.
I'm actually Amber Shevin, so it's a little different, but I'm Amber Shevin. I'm an Economic Empowerment Technical Advisor with the IRC. And just by way of more introduction, the IRC is a global humanitarian organization. We operate within the US in nearly 30 cities, in California and in 6 cities. We are a refugee resettlement organization at our core, but we offer immigration support, resettlement support, health, education, workforce development, a whole suite of services. And this will support very directly our workforce development work, supporting ESL, digital literacy, job readiness training, and that side of things. So happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions. No. There a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the International Rescue Committee and an ETP funding amount of $497,475.
Second.
Any discussion from the panel? Any public comment? No. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Terrific. If you will turn to tab 25, this is a workforce literacy pilot program proposal for Kern Community College District located in the city of Bakersfield. Kern Community College District is a repeat contractor with extensive experience. And in this workforce literacy pilot program project, KCCD is requesting $190,836 in funding to serve 228 retrainees in various occupations, including driver, early childhood education student aid and ECE teachers, general laborers, maintenance mechanics, and production staff. Training will be provided primarily at employer facilities as well as at KCCD facilities. Here representing KCCD is David Teasdale, Executive Director of Economic and Workforce Development Programs.
Hi, thanks for welcoming me back. I forgot to introduce myself last time, but Robert did a great job. This workforce literacy pilot project, I'm regretting not having requested more based off the indicated demand. But the thing I'm most excited about is we have had several core contracts. We're back with a core contract later. We have had many of our employer partners bemoan the fact that they have fantastic workers that they would like to promote to supervisory roles, but they just don't have the English language skills to be able to manage a bilingual workforce, both English primary and limited English folks. And that's the part of this that I'm most excited about. Well, it's hard to pick because we also get to work with the Dolores Huerta Foundation and the Farm Worker Institute for Education and Leadership Development, who would not normally be eligible under a core contract. So I'm willing to field any questions that the panel might have.
Motion to approve the Kern Community College District ETP contract amount of $190,836.
Second.
Any discussions to the panel? Any public comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion's adopted.
All right, thank you. If you will turn to tab 26, this is a workforce literacy pilot program project again for the Laborers Training and Retraining Trust Fund for Southern California, located in the city of Los Angeles and serving 8 Southern California locals across 12 Southern California counties.
Madam
This will-
Chair, at this moment, can I recuse myself?
You may.
Okay, we have a recusal. Okay, perfect. This will be the Labor School's 8th ETP contract and the 8th within the last 5 years. In this project, the contractor is requesting $458,136 in funding to serve 202 retrainees employed as laborers. Training will be provided at the Labor School training sites throughout Southern California. Here representing the Laborers Training and Retraining Trust Fund for Southern California is Lisa Becerra, Executive Assistant and Quality Manager, and subcontractor Sandra Borzola of Strategy Workplace Communications.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Becerra from the Laborers Training and Retraining Trust Fund of Southern California. Training and education is in our name, and so it's in our brand. So we were very grateful when this opportunity arose because we do have a large population of Spanish speakers in our industry. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
So this is serving a variety of laborers across a few different areas, but the training is all being provided at that specific facility to those laborers. And
Our main campus is in Azusa, California, but we service a large portion of Southern California.
thank you.
I have a question for staff, I think. I'm looking at your numbers. There is no potential earnings currently. You have 2 active contracts. I'm not seeing any earnings on there. Is that up to date?
I believe that those numbers are current. They both project to be at 100% upon completion. One will complete and is in the closeout process, I believe. And then the second one is going to complete 2024.
I want to update that on the packet because it's not showing. Unless mine's missing something.
No, they just haven't gotten it in.
Yeah.
So mine shows 0 and 0 and 0. So just checking. Questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the Laborers Training and Retraining Trust Fund for Southern California and ETP funding amount of $458,136.
Thank you so much.
Any discussion from the panel and any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion's adopted.
Before we move on, I'll just note for the record that Member Smiles recused from participation in this consideration of this proposal. And now I'll go bring him back in the room.
Clapping. Oh, sorry.
Give him the heat to wait.
I know.
All right.
A slow clap.
Build up that, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Welcome back, Rick. All right, if you turn to tab 27, this will be the last of my workforce literacy pilot projects, but this is actually a special one. This is the San Francisco Food Bank, a first-time ETP contractor located in the city of San Francisco, serving both San Francisco and Marin counties. In this WLPP project, the San Francisco Food Bank is requesting $93,150 in funding to serve 45 retrainees employed by the food bank in a range of occupations. The workers are represented by Office and Professional Employees International Union Local 29. Training will be provided at San Francisco Food Bank facilities, including 2 warehouses in San Francisco and 1 in San Rafael. Here representing their program at the San Francisco Food Bank is Cassandra Terry, Associate Director of Learning and Development and Quality Manager, and subcontractor Sandra Barzola, again, of Strategy Workforce Communications.
Hi, panel members. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. Again, I'm Cassandra Terry, the Associate Director of Learning and Development for the San Francisco Marin Food Bank. We are super excited about this opportunity. As proud union partners, we have worked with OPEIU Local 29 to identify some critical needs in our employee community. We call them food bankers because they do the real work of our food bank. The food bank has identified the major needs of upskilling for a new tech-specific workforce. We have robots on our warehouse floors now, so we're really looking to support our staff with that and career progression. Over the past 2 employee engagement surveys at the food bank, we've heard their demand for more internal mobility and for their ability to focus on language skills. So we are going to be working with our food bankers to design and implement a food bank vocational ESL class that over 45 food bankers will be participating in. All of those are union represented, and we're excited to see what they do.
Questions from the panel on this?
Motion to approve the San Francisco Food Bank contract amount $93,150.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the panel on this proposal? Any public comment? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Okay, panel members, good morning. What's left of the morning? And please turn to tab 28, which is a workforce literacy pilot program training proposal for Economic Development Collaborative, Ventura County. This is a repeat contractor and total ETP funding being requested for $226,800. And that's to train an estimated number of trainees of 200 for job 1, retraining seasonal workers. This is EDCVC's 5th ETP contract and the 3rd within the last 5 years. And here today to answer any of your questions are Bruce Stensley, President and CEO, Vivian Vasquez, Workforce and Economic Strategies Senior Associate, and Miranda Luce, Director of Partnerships and Gen.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the panel and staff. Bruce Stensley, President, CEO, Economic Development Collaborative, and with our partners here as introduced. Just a couple of quick comments on my part. First, we're just thrilled for the opportunity to participate in this new special project. It's of huge relevance, importance, and opportunity in Ventura County. Some 25,000 farm workers facing disruption of all kinds. And with disruption, of course, is the opportunity for advancement in social and economic mobility. And we're excited about that. And then secondly, just to say thank you for creating and establishing this program and for the staff support in navigating our way through it. And we're just eager to ask for your support in launching this. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? It looks really good.
Motion to approve the proposal for Economic Development Collaborative, Ventura County, contract number ET 24-0133 in the amount of $226,800.
Second.
Any discussions from the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion's adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, panel. Let's turn to tab 29. This is also a workforce literacy pilot program training proposal for Penumbra Inc. It's a repeat contractor and total ETP funding being requested is for $159,360 for an estimated number of trainees of 96 under job number 1, retrainee priority rate. ETP funded training will be delivered at its facilities in Alameda and Roseville. This will be Penumbra's 4th ETP contract and its 2nd in the last 5 years. And here today to answer your questions are Jimmy Garcia, training manager, Tiffany DeCourse, training and supervisor, and Heather Speech, training coordinator. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Jimmy Garcia, the Operations Training Manager for Penumbra. Thank you for your time this morning, all members of the panel. I personally oversaw all the grants that that he mentioned that we've completed in the last few years. And we were really excited to see that the additional funding for workforce literacy, we actually piloted and designed a program based off of the funding from the previous grant. So we're excited to see this coming around because now we can give more dedicated time to our literacy program and be able to expand that not only to just our day shift, but our swing shift, and also multiple sites. Yeah, so I'm here to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Questions from the panel on this?
Yeah, I have a question. Use what's called a higher select assessment process to determine if people have reading skills above 8th grade or below 8th grade. Are the people that assessed above 8th grade excluded?
They are not. So the Higher Select is actually a tool that's used during our recruiting process just to collect additional data. But it's actually going to be a combination of hire select information and the interviewing process that makes the decision. It is just additional data to kind of make that decision with.
Okay. Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve Penumbra Inc., contract number ET 24-0143, in the amount of $159,360.
Second.
Any discussions from the panel on this proposal? Any comment from the public? So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you all.
Thank you, panel. Let's turn to tab 30. This is a workforce literacy pilot program training proposal for Searsoft Inc., DBA California Rehabilitation Specialists. This is a repeat contractor, and total ETP funding being requested today is for $136,620 for an estimated number of trainees of 60 under job 1, retraining medical skills with small business. Thank you. Training will occur at its headquarters in Granada Hills, and this will be Searsoft's 4th ETP contract and his 3rd in the last 5 years. And here today is Kelvin Rivera, Director of Operations.
Hi, my name is Kelvin Rivera. I'm Director of Operations for Searsoft Inc. We serve places in LA and Granada Hills. We do training for physical therapy. We also have contracts with Noble Quest Health Foundation and other hospitals in the Los Angeles region. We have physical therapists, medical assistants, and CNAs. And we do training.
And who did you bring with you?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Who
you.
did you bring with you?
This is Dr. Eileen Rivera. She is our CEO.
Yes, hello, everyone. Good morning. I am very happy to be here.
Excellent. Thank you.
And sorry, also Paul Johnson, President and Chief Operating Officer for their subcontractor Cal Training Inc. is here as well.
You're welcome.
Any questions on this proposal? No.
Motion to approve contract number ET 24-0140, in the amount of $136,620.
Second.
Any discussion from the panel on this? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? Motion adopted.
Thank you. Let's turn to tab 31. This is a workforce literacy pilot program as well, a training proposal for the BREAD project. It's not a repeat contractor, and total ETP funding for today being requested is $239,540. And that's to train an estimated number of trainees of 70 under job 1, which is a new hire retrainee or a new hire trainee. Training will be provided at the Berkeley or at its Berkeley location to residents of Alameda, Contra Costa, Solano, San Francisco, and San Joaquin areas. This will be the BREAD project's first ETP contract, as I've noted before. And here today are Usha Gongal, Executive Director, and Lynn Lucklow, Chief Development Officer.
Good morning, panel chair and members. Thank you for these opportunities. I want to thank to our ETP full officers, Samantha Wing, as well as the panel manager, our Chris Hopper. Thank you so much for putting all together as a briefly. We are BREAD project since 2000. We serve almost like over 22,000. And then of the rest of them, I will ask Development Director to say anything.
Thank you so much. Lynn Lukow, the Chief Development Officer. We've been operating for 23 years and have an extraordinary track record of 80 to 85% graduation rate, 80 to 85% placement rate, and 80 to 85% retention rate after 90 days. So we have a lot of experience. We're excited to have this first opportunity with you. We serve immigrants, refugees, asylees, formerly incarcerated, any individuals who have significant barriers to employment, and we get them jobs and positioned. I think the culinary jobs are starting to be increasingly good jobs because wages are going up. The demand is significant for hospitality workers, as you heard from our our colleague. So we really want to help out the industry in the Bay Area, make sure they have the types and quality of individuals to sustain the industry. Many restaurants are not able to function as many hours as they would like because they don't have enough employees. So we want to help with that and make sure that immigrants and refugees and asylees in particular are gaining the skills they need to move forward and do job advancement. Starting wage has been typically $18 for our graduates. Our average in FY22 was $23 an hour. So things are moving in the right direction. Thanks for this opportunity.
A quick question, if you don't mind. The trainees that you're training in this program specifically, they are not yet hired into a position, or they are currently hired and then they are going to work at night and attending your school during the day?
99% new hires.
New hires.
There's an occasional one.
Okay.
You know, most of our trainees are unemployed when they start. So we help get them on the right track.
I really love on your website how you avow that the training is free for low and no income residents of the Bay Area who face barriers to employment. Thank you for that. And then on completing the program, the graduates receive a certification of completion and a ServSafe certification from the state of California and the 12 months to follow up job placement assistance. So I commend you on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the bread project contract number ET 24-0137 in the amount of $239,540.
Second.
Any discussion from the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Motion adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next, we have tab 32, a workforce literacy proposal from Building Skills Partnership. They are a repeat contractor requesting $124,740 to train 77 trainees. Training will be delivered primarily at the participating employers' work sites throughout California. Here representing Building Skills Partnership to answer any questions are Daniel Paredes, Contract Monitoring and Compliance Coordinator, Sarah Coy, Director of Transformative Programs, Sandra Baraloza, Consultant Strategy Workplace.
Hi, everybody. We want to give our thanks to the panel for hearing our application and also to the ETP staff for working with us through this process. We have a history of working with ETP to support SEIU USWW members in the commercial janitorial and airport worker division. Our first actual contract with ETP was actually for vocational English, so we're happy to be back here again today. We do currently have an expansion contract with ETP for airport workers, and we are at 68%, and we have about 500 workers left to train, so we foresee that we are going to complete that. Right now, we're seeing a high need for English skills within the janitorial community because with commercial buildings, people not going back into work, commercial buildings have a lot lower occupancy rate right now. And so we're seeing a lot from the clients that there's this need for English skills with their janitorial workers to offer more interaction with both clients and building owners. So we are seeing a huge need for this over the next coming year to 2 years. I'm open to answering any questions you all may have of us.
Questions?
Motion to approve the Building Skills Partnership contract in an ETP funding amount of $124,740.
Second.
Any discussion from the panel on this proposal? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstention? The motion is adopted.
Thank you, panel. Next, we have tab 33, a workforce literacy proposal from California Manufacturing and Technology Association. Please note there is an update to the active project section in the 130. Approved project ET 230291 from the March panel meeting and ET 230363 from the June panel meeting. California Manufacturing and Technology Association are a repeat contractor requesting $497,880 to train 461 trainees. Training will be delivered primarily at the participating employers' work sites throughout California. Here representing California Manufacturing and Technology Association to answer any questions are Lance Hastings, President and CEO, Nathan Daly, Database Administrator, Michael Sneed, Consultant, Sierra Consulting Services.
Thank you, Madam Chair and panel members. I appreciate the dialogue that we initiated at the last panel meeting. We've worked with staff and leadership of ETP to address all of the issues, and I think we're in a great spot today. It's important for us too, as the requestor, to do it right and do it well. And the effort that we put in last month, I think gets us to that spot. So thank you very much to the staff.
Any questions from the panel on this one?
But this one contains a training vendor that is out of state in New York. And this will be a matter that we'll be taking up in policy committee for further deliberation and discussion. Anything else on that right now?
Nope, nothing else on that right now. Yep. Anything else from anyone? So I hear a motion.
Motion to approve California Manufacturers and Technology Association contract number ET 24-0130 in the amount of $497,880.
Second.
Any discussion from the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Motion adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, panel. Next is tab 34, a workforce literacy proposal from Chaffey Community College District, Chaffey College. They are a repeat contractor requesting $467,100 to train 692 trainees. Training will take place at Chaffey Community College's locations in Rancho Cucamonga, Chino, Fontana, and participating employers' work sites throughout California. Here representing Chaffey Community College to answer any questions is John Fox, Manager of Employer Training and Development.
Good afternoon, panel members. Thank you for your consideration of this proposal from Chaffey Community College. We are thrilled to participate in this literacy pilot as it will allow for focus training to be delivered to a population that would not normally qualify for ETP-funded training due to wages below the minimum. Based on feedback from employers, content will be delivered primarily in the area of vocational English as a second language. The project will be fundamentally different, although complementary as compared to Chaffey College's previous and current ETP contracts. In previous ETP contracts, the majority of training has been delivered in either industrial maintenance topics, continuous improvement, or frontline leadership. This literacy pilot represents an incredible opportunity to deploy Chaffey College's fantastic literacy instructors, as well as industry expert contractors to provide truly focused literacy training versus the normal 45% literacy training limit in other contracts to a population that is unique and stands to benefit greatly. Chaffey College is located in the Inland Empire, comprised of San Bernardino and Riverside counties. 22% of the population of the Inland Empire, or 909,000 individuals, are immigrants. Average household income for immigrants are nearly 20% lower than non-immigrant population, and literacy skills are a frequent barrier to career advancement and wage increase opportunity. Again, Chaffey is excited to begin working with his new population of trainees, investing in the futures of participating individuals, as well as helping employers to achieve increased business outcomes. Chaffey College has two active contracts, a CCCF contract that closes in March 2024, and a relatively new core contract that closes March 2025. Training has been delivered equivalent to 85% of available training funds in the CCCF contract, and we're projecting 100% performance on that contract. Despite having only been open for a few months, training equivalent to 13% of available funds has been delivered in our new core contract. With planned project and continued outreach, we have great confidence in achieving 100% performance on that contract as well. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the panel?
Motion to approve the Chaffey Community College District and an ETP funding amount of $467,100.
Second.
Discussion from the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, panel. Tab 35 for La Mejor Inc. has been pulled from this panel and will attend a future panel meeting. Moving on to tab number 36, a workforce literacy proposal from Right Varsity Technologies, LLC. They are a repeat contractor requesting $458,055 to train 117 trainees. Training will take place at Right Varsity's headquarters in Santa Clara and participating employers' work sites throughout California. Here representing Right Varsity, answering any questions are Mali Uzo, CEO, Syra Reyes, Project Coordinator.
Good afternoon, everyone. And unfortunately, Syra cannot be here. And thank you very much to ETP for providing us the opportunity to start working with you. It took us about 3 years to get into the system. And once we got in, we have the first contract, which is actually closed out, being closed out right now, and it's over 100% successful. And we now have the second one that is also in process that will close out in March. And for that one, we are supposed to be training 120. We have actually enrolled 116. And out of the 116, 100 of those individuals are African Americans. 15 are veterans, and about 30 something of them are actually Latina. Now, while going through all those process of training the individuals using the contract opportunity that ETP has given us, we found out that a lot of people, a lot of those that would benefit from our training could not, because they are either not, not just that they are not, but they are not comfortable with their language literacy, or they are not at the point where they can use mathematics effectively to do the programming and the cybersecurity and some of the technology stuff that we are doing. So even some of them actually are afraid to even apply to different jobs because they are not comfortable enough. So that is why we are including language literacy, digital literacy, mathematics, and workforce preparation in our program. And to top it all, we have been following those that have been doing the program with us. And it's interesting to hear what they are saying. And also you see how effective the money that you have been giving us has been. Now, one of them, or some of them have a lot of barriers as well. And one of them that we followed to make sure that they actually apply is telling us, every time we talk, part of my insecurities are stripped away, and that blows us apart. So when we are going for this literacy program, we actually made sure that we include that literacy part that will also get them to the job security and the living wage that they're looking for. We are in San Jose, Silicon Valley, and some of these people could also be having housing problem if they're not able to stay in that area and get the right job. So we have our project ready, and we have started recruiting, and I'll put in a little bit of twist. In April, we had water problem in our house. And most of those that the contractor was bringing into the house to work could not speak English. We couldn't speak with them, but they worked very hard. That was hard. Then we moved into a hotel to stay while they are working in our house. The customer service people, those that are coming to clean our rooms, we couldn't speak with them because they could not understand English. So this is personal to me, and passionately, I want to get it done in this area. So the connection is there with the past projects, and the connection is there in real life for us. Thank you very much. Ready to answer questions, and I thank Karen Kaiser for helping us as the analyst for this program. And Phil, I thank you so much. Thank you.
Any questions from the panel on that?
Thank you for an excellent presentation and sharing your passion for this work. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the Right Varsity Technologies LLC and an ETP funding amount of $458,055.
Second.
Any discussion from the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you, panel members. That concludes our workforce literacy pilot program proposals. Transitioning to the proposals for single employer contractors. I believe, Mr. Executive Director, we'll start with the consent calendar proposals that were pulled.
Yeah, whichever way, yeah.
Okay. If you will please turn to tab number 1. 2020 Plumbing and Heating, Inc. This would be 2020 Plumbing and Heating's first ETP contract. 2020 Plumbing and Heating is requesting $193,200 in total ETP funding. They plan to train a total of 350 retrainees in one job number. 2020 Plumbing and Heating's headquarters is in Riverside, California, with additional facilities in Orange and San Diego counties. This training project will focus on the commercial and computer skills training needed to meet the demand for energy efficient HVAC services, water efficient plumbing products, and technological advances of equipment that make this type of work more complex. I do need to clarify on page 2 of the proposal, in the wage range by occupation table, the wage range is not broken down by our standard segments. For the service technician / installers, 20 trainees make between $22 and $25, and 238 trainees make between $25.01 and $75, for a total of the 258 trainees. Here today representing 2020 Plumbing and Heating and ready to address questions from the panel is Paul Danko, HR Manager of Benefits and Compliance, and Juliana Kirby, Consultant.
Chair and members of the panel, as you heard, I'm Paul Danko, Senior Payroll, Accounting, and Compliance Manager for 2020 Plumbing and Heating, a 100% employee-owned company in Riverside. I'd like to thank Paula in the San Diego field office for her assistance with this proposal. Also, I just want to lead with, I understand there were some questions about our bonus structure, and our bonuses are paid on completion of project-specific and company-specific company-wide goals. If they're project-based, they're paid weekly upon depending on when the project is completed. Company-wide bonuses are paid in thirds in May, September, and December. We have a reliable and verifiable history of bonus payments. Additionally, most of our HVAC and plumbing technicians, as you heard, make at least 25 per hour base wage. As back to the bonus, we anticipate less than 5 of the employees will need the maximum bonus that we outlined in our project. And we estimate that the average bonus that would be used would be $1.45. I want to thank the panel for allowing us to this opportunity to provide critical skills to our employee owners and subsequently hire new employees to meet the increased demand for HVAC services in California. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
I was the one that pulled that. Do you mind? Thank you. That alleviates a lot of my concern about that. So when I was looking at this, it felt almost that this could potentially be verging into piecemeal pay, and which we've had kind of a longstanding that's not a priority way to pay wages and workers for things. So with that, you do have a post-retention wage of $30.90 an hour. So I just would like some assurance that your workers are going to be able to meet that minimum wage. I understand that you have the bonus concept, but where that bonus concept is introduced, I really don't want to see the worker having to skirt safety issues, for instance, in order to get the job done. Like safety has to be the number one issue. Everybody's safe on the job site. That's first, and then getting the job done is next. And I just wanted to see if you could elaborate on your thoughts and feelings about job site safety on a construction site. And
job site safety is a primary concern for us. We have a whole department dedicated to safety of our employee owners. We meet every week to discuss any issues that come up. Nobody comes to work to get hurt, and we want everybody to go home safe. And needless to say, injuries are very expensive. It does nobody any good. So the bottom line is no good. And
So we make every effort to make sure that our employees get home safe.
The four-year service technicians and installers, is there a huge amount of fluctuation in the weekly wages that they're receiving depending on the bonus? Or can they at least be able to go home, provide for their family, knowing like this is the solid wage that I know I will earn every week, and whatever the bonus is like cherry on top? Like, that's great, but it's not digging into like their ability to survive.
Correct. As you say, as you saw, our most of our technicians earn at least 25 an hour. It's a high-paying industry. There's a lot of competition. If we didn't pay that living wage, we would lose a lot of people. If it was fluctuated, we would lose a lot of people with that too. So
Little fluctuation, but the bonus is a nice cherry on top. Okay, I'm fine.
Any other questions from the panel? Is there a motion to approve? this
Motion to
proposal?
approve the 2020 Plumbing and Heating, Inc. contract number ET 24-0100 and an ETP funding amount of $193,200. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the panel on this proposal? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
You will please turn to tab number 3, B&B Builders, Inc.
Rick, do you need to abstain yourself? Someone.
Recording. Yeah, I'd like to recuse myself from this application.
All right. B&B Builders, Inc. This would be B&B Builders' second ETP contract. B&B Builders is requesting $97,750 in total ETP funding, and they plan to train a total of 170 retrainees in 2 job numbers. B&B Builders headquarters is in Seattle, Washington, with 3 California locations in San Diego, Orange, and San Mateo counties. This training project will focus on training associated with the newest construction, technology and equipment, software platforms and processes. In addition, B&B must also provide extensive training, to keep up with the changes in the construction industry associated with building standards, new energy efficient legislation, and sustainable design. B&B Builders prior project earned $112,627, which was 57% of their awarded funding amount. Here today, representing B&B Builders and ready to address questions from the panel is Haley Brumley. Got an update on the title. Sorry, Haley.
HR safety.
Yes, okay. And Leary Jones, Corporate Safety Director.
Good afternoon, panel. I'm Larry Jones, and appreciate the opportunity for us to be here. I want to thank Kellen Hernandez and kind of guiding us through the multiple years that we've been applying for this. We are a general contractor. As Kellen has alluded, we are based out of Seattle. We have 5 regions. 3 of those regions are here in California. We do employ 1,200 employees throughout the 5 regions. We also have a region in Colorado. As you can tell, initially, our application was around 197,000. That started in May of 2020, and it went to 22. So that was in the throes of the COVID, which was unprecedented. We did not reach the goal that was initially anticipated. However, we have retooled, regrouped, and how we're going to pursue based on the funds that will be allotted. So with that being said, I would like to, if you have any questions?
Hold this one, right?
I'll
Oh,
vote on consent.
Missing gentlemen.
So it was on my
Missing
list.
gentleman.
'Cause
Okay, I got it.
And he answered my concern that I had on it anyway, so. So do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve B&B Builders, Inc., contract amount of $97,750.
Second.
Fantastic. Any discussion from the panel on this proposal? And any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
Next, we have tab 4, a proposal from Butte Glen Community College District. They are a repeat contractor requesting $749,937 to train 535 trainees, including 153 newly employed CNAs. Training will take place at Butte College's Training Center and at participating employers' work sites throughout California. Here representing Butte Glen Community College District to answer any questions is Alistair Roton, ETP Program Manager.
Thank you for having us here today, panel. I represent Butte College Training Place. We're the contract education arm of Butte Glen Community College District. The college has served the counties of Butte and Glen in the North State since 1968. And our contract education department has been around for 25 years. And we've completed several successful ETP contracts over the last few years. Currently, we're seeking funding in the amount of $749,000 to serve some similar populations that we've been serving to date under our current contract. That's tracking to 100% completion by the end of the year. If we include the forecasted hours, and as of this week, nearly 80%, 79.7% retention completed and entered in Cal eForce. We're supporting several job categories, including retrainee priority, retrainee, and job creation. The bulk of our job creation has been focused on the CNA population, responding to the need of increased skill nursing facilities and in a lack of availability of non-contract CNAs in the area, and actual lack of opportunity for training for high school graduates in the area. So the local skilled nursing facilities and hospitals have stepped up to the plate there and are delivering curriculum in line with the NATP standards for the state. Just would like to answer any questions if you have about our proposal.
I actually have a question. We've heard a lot of healthcare today, and I'm just going to focus. You have a request to have an hours modification for the CNA to extend it by 60 hours. So instead of being 200, you would like it as 200 hours, you'd like it to be 260. Can you help us better understand that? Because I've not seen that request anywhere else. And in fairness and consistency with other contracts, I just want to make sure we're clear as to what.
So the context of that dates back to a prior contract where it was an approved modification in response to a lot of class disruption due to COVID. And what some of the employers in the area found was that with the additional hours of training, they had much better success in terms of passing, much better retention, because it's with the completion of the training, and then that they typically graduate from the student minimum wage, and then it's with their certification and licensing that they're then given incremental wage increases. In total, as far as in our current contract, the 153 CNA trainees who have met 90-day retention and been submitted, we actually have 12 to 15 who exceed the 200 hours. So and I believe it's actually less than 12 who met the 260 hours. So it's not, we've seen a decline in the need for the additional hours, but we put it in there since it was actually approved from the outset of our current contract that runs through March 2024.
They were saying in the previous contract is approved, it was due to COVID and the disruption, I'm going to call it disruption in the classroom, but also people not being used to being back in the classroom. I guess I'm going to say we're coming out of COVID. I'd like to say we're done, but I don't think we're 100% done, but we're coming out of that side of it. So the classroom's coming back to more normal, and you're saying very few are actually using that hours. I think for me, I would prefer to put it as a 200-hour versus 260, at others to see about where they feel. I just feel with all these other healthcare, we should be mirroring consistency on a CNA.
Particularly with the lower wages.
I understand. Just want to provide some current commentary this week. One of our cohorts of nearly 15 students that started on June 12th. I was actually physically collecting the rosters, and I was curious why they hadn't completed. And there was a COVID disruption. So after the 4th of July weekend, they postponed the class so that their cohort will complete in the first week of August.
But if the class is being suspended, we're not paying for the suspended hours, correct? It's still 200 hours of training.
Correct.
Funded, not 260 hours of funded training. That's what I want to make sure we're getting at. I'm almost hearing you saying that 260 hours is the correct. It may take them up to 260 hours to complete, but the training is still sitting at 200 hours because we should be funding the training, not the.
They invest more time in revision and extended training on the same 17 modules.
So if the intention is of the panel to reduce the training for the CNAs from 260 down to 200, do we need to reduce the amount of the contract, or there's still flexibility in awarding the full amount and then moving those numbers around?
Do you have so if we reduce that 200, you have additional people in the pot, or the employers have in the pot to train? We can still keep the dollars the same. You just will have an increase in numbers, but we're keeping to 200 hours only of training.
We're in a position right now where we're needing to prioritize and vet out applicants for the program because we're trying to spread the hours to other job types as well. But in terms of the CNA job creation population, our program's oversubscribed. So
we were to say 200 hours of training, though your program may be 260 because of the other pieces, we are funding 200 hours of training. All right, so do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve the Butte Glen Community College District ETP funding amount of $749,937 with the amendment to their contract of moving the CNA training from 260 hours down to 200 hours.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion from the panel? Any comments from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, panel. Next is tab 6, a proposal from Green Day Power. They are a first-time contractor requesting $161,805 to train 130 workers, including 45 new employees. Training will take place at Green Day Power's locations in Sacramento, Fresno, and Riverside County. Here representing Green Day Power to answer any questions are Seth Debbie, President, Linda Hernandez, HR Director, and Jill Musin, Consultant, Synergy Management Consultants.
Thanks for your time today, panel. We're grateful to be here to try to participate in this program for us for the first time. We have offices in Sacramento, Fresno, and in Southern California, and we bring in trainees and help them through their process and the electrical training, doing solar installations, battery installations, main panel upgrades on that electrical side, and have a large range of employees that are moving through that process and being trained, and we're continuing to add to that training process and expand it. And this would be great, big help in doing that. So any questions for us?
Glad to have you here as a new, fresh applicant. Welcome. It's not going to be that scary, but I do have some questions for you. As a solar electrical contractor that's delving into renewable energy and the battery energy storage, I wanted to see if you're partnering with apprenticeship programs to bring these trainees in, get them connected to an apprenticeship program so that they can eventually become California State certified electricians.
Yeah, so what we're doing, yeah, no, I'll kind of hit what we do. So with what we're providing is the like the 4-year qualification of the actual work. And so when they're qualifying for that, we've had, I think now 3 or 4 employees go from starting with us to actually achieving their license through our training program. So that training is happening within the company. There isn't any specific partnerships happening, but that license progression of starting at the business and obtaining their California electrical licensing is happening. And that progression is happening actually pretty quickly.
So
They do provide ET training, okay? And they do provide the opportunity for apprenticeship if the employee wants to.
okay, so that's what I want to hear about is what is that opportunity to connect them into an apprenticeship program so then they can become California State certified electricians. So there's a frustration that I've seen in the industry where some folks get stuck at a solar installer position and they're unable to advance themselves to frankly higher paying electrical positions. That's typically afforded to them through an apprenticeship program, either union or non-union, but it's an apprenticeship program. I've seen also a solar company that went under, and then their workers came to us and myself seeking help. How do I advance myself in this industry? And then they were told of like, because your employer didn't provide you with the electrical trainee card and you didn't know to go get one yourself, all those hours that you worked for that solar installer doing solar or battery energy storage, they didn't count. So then that person had to go and start all over again to acquire 8,000 hours in order to become a California State certified electrician. So there's a real lost opportunity for those individual workers that I just want to see you take the best practice of making sure that they have their ET cards at minimum.
Yeah.
And that there is some kind of a partnership with an apprenticeship program so that they can advance themselves in that industry. So that's why you're here today.
Yeah.
So I can ask these questions of you.
No, that's helpful. And we've seen, again, progression. We've seen some of our employees move through those, get their license while they're working for us and while they're still working for us.
Right.
And yeah, that would be
But
helpful.
the
We'll try to-
response when I had asked that question through staff of, are you working with your employees to make sure that they have an ET card and that they are monitoring their hours and working their hours to reach the 8,000? The response I received back was, if they so choose. And too often in this industry, which is in the solar industry, and I'm not saying this for yourself, but folks that are just kind of burned and used at that very basic level of a solar installer, and then they're not afforded that opportunity because they didn't know to ask about it. But if they had a good employer like yourself that was saying, here's the opportunity for how to advance yourself in the electrical industry and become a California State certified electrician, I will make sure like you understand this is how you request an ET card, and let's work together to track those hours so then you're moving things forward. So it's not like the employee's like, yeah, I want to do that. They know about it from you. Yeah. Thank you.
I've been there for about a year now, and I'm new to solar, new to the industry, but it took me a few months to actually, really dive into the business and learning our employees what their needs are. And so over the last 6 months, I've been really developing a maturing model, to make sure that the employees see a pathway to success within Green Day. And with that is, I'm new to the IEVW and all of that. And so just really getting as much information as I can. And that's an ongoing process. So as of right now, we don't. However, I am in the process of making sure that I am developing, maturing modeling for all of our employees and providing them opportunities and training so, they can stay with us. And we're in this transition right now, going from a small mom and pop business, to growing.
I can tell. Number one in California, it says.
So, right now we're in the middle of like some growing trenches, and hopefully this will allow us to, level up our employees as well as the company as we continue to grow.
I can help.
Thank you. I want you to be able to go and tour the apprenticeship facilities, and union or non-union, like just go and tour what they're providing, the education curriculum. It's very hands-on. They have all of the units there. The facility is a training facility. It's all about safety too, and then advancing the worker into their career so then they can go get higher wage jobs. So, okay.
Have a motion for approval on this proposal.
Motion to approve Green Day Power in an amount of $161,805. And please work with your trainees to get them ET cards.
Second.
Any further discussion from the panel on this proposal? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you, panel.
Okay, panel, let's turn to tab 7. This is a training proposal for Jewish Vocational and Career Counseling Service, DBA JVS. This is a priority industry and a repeat contractor. Total ETP funding being requested today is for $748,638 for an estimated number of trainees of 198 for job 1, new hire with multiple barriers. ETP training will be delivered out of its center-based San Francisco headquarters. Though partnerships with vendors such as San Francisco State and University of Pacific are evident. And this will be JVS's 9th ETP contract and its 5th in the last 5 years. And here today to answer any of your questions are Dylan Ruggles, Interim Vice President of Program Operations, and Rosa Hernanda of Steve Duché Associates.
Good afternoon, Dylan Ruggles, Interim Vice President of Program Operations. This is my first time here, but this is certainly not JVS's first time.
Yeah, so I had a question. It may be my head and looking at pieces that have been approved in the past. So I apologize, but I just want to have a better understanding. You have a trainer to trainee waiver in here from a ratio of 1 to 15 to 1 to 20. So increasing the number of trainees to trainer than what is recommended by the criteria of ETP. I'm just trying to better understand how that benefits to add 5 more people in a ratio than having less, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, I can speak to that. Yeah. So I'll start with just describing kind of like what that process is like. So first, we do a comprehensive assessment of individuals before enrolling them around what are their barriers, how we can best support them throughout the entire training. So they go into that program with staff having that understanding. We also really leverage the power of the cohort. So individuals within that cohort providing support to other individuals. And then also just to say that our actual ratio tends to be more like 1 to 13. So within every classroom, we have 2 instructors to 20 or at max 26 participants.
So I think we'd be more comfortable with this additional contract by not approving the trainee to trainer request and exception that you're asking for and going back to 1 to 15.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, fantastic.
Any other questions?
That was my only question. I don't know if anyone had anything else. Have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the Jewish Vocational and Career Counseling Services, DBA JVS, in an ETP amount of $748,638 and removing the request for increasing the trainer to trainee ratio and going back down to 1 to 15.
Thank you so much.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussions from the panel or any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Motion's adopted.
Please turn to tab 8. Kern Community College District. This would be KCCD's 9th ETP contract and 9th in the last 5 years. KCCD is requesting $593,543 in total ETP funding. They plan to train a total of 718 retrainees over 5 job numbers. ETP funding training will provide participating employers the opportunity to sustain competitiveness, upgrade skills of their workforce, and adapt to the new business environment. KCCD's active projects are currently on pace to earn $807,125, which is 82% of the approved amount, and $514,320, which is 86% of the approved amount of that separate contract. Here today representing KCCD and ready to address questions from the panel is David Teasdale, Executive Director.
Hi, it's me again.
It
So
all
just,
bulks into one, I'm going to tell you.
yeah, let's keep it brief. I'd be happy to answer any questions about our core contract application.
Yeah, I think you've got multiple contracts running. To me, it's just making sure we're keeping on top of the data entry so that when we're looking at this, we've got a contract that's expiring in March of next year. No completers, no actual trainees in it, but we're on track.
Right.
Just asking that we continue to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to give staff a lot of credit. They keep us diligent on it, and the system doesn't allow us to have trainees in multiple contracts at the same time for the same training. So you have some fail safes in that process. Our app, if you look, except for healthcare, and everybody was kind of right-sized on the healthcare ones, we've asked for less than the maximum to reflect that we do have some overlapping contracts and that we can meet our commitment to the panel.
I just want to make sure everyone's successful.
Any other questions?
That was my main piece, just making sure you're keeping track on that. Any other questions from the group, from the panel? Oh, I have one other. How are you training the group in Monterey? You have an employer in there. Think about geographic. Is it a virtual class or is it?
Their headquarters are in Monterey. Their largest single employment centers in Bakersfield.
Okay.
And there's some virtual training that happens throughout the state. Thank you.
Any other questions? I hear a motion.
A motion to approve Kern County Community District contract number ET 24-0102, correct? In the amount of $593,543.
Second.
Okay, so are there any other further discussions from the panel on this proposal? And any comment from the public? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Okay, thank you, panel. Let's turn to tab, I believe, excuse me, I turned a little early there, tab 9. This is a training proposal for SOMA AEC, Inc., DBA Oxman College. They are a priority industry and a repeat contractor. Total ETP funding being requested today is for $749,808. And that's for an estimated number of trainees of 40 under job number 1, which is a medical skills retrainee in an HUA area. 20 under job number 2, which is a priority rate retrainee, 20 under job 3, medical skills retrainee, and 118 under job 4, medical skills retrainee for job creation. ETP funded training will be delivered at its approved Bureau of Private Post-Secondary Education, BPPE, offices statewide. This project will be Oxman College's 18th ETP contract and its 7th in the last 5 years. And here today to answer your questions are Michael Dvorkin, President and CEO, and Sonia Pugok, Program Director. Sorry if I mispronounced that.
Vice Chair and panel members, we're here to answer any questions.
Yeah, so I think you answered some of these questions before, but when we look at your website and those components, a lot of this is things that have been approved in the past through content. But I think, again, on the medical side, we have CNAs and registered nurses in this proposal as well. Are these based in the San Francisco area, or is it more that deployed on this contract? Because I do have a concern raised from like the medical one that we did, the healthcare one, if we contain it in here as well, where we sit. So can you give us a bit of better understanding of the healthcare that you're covering in this one on the nurses?
Yeah, I believe this one has a lot of more of the San Francisco Bay Area. We have some in Walnut Creek. We have San Bruno. We have Monterey. So closer to Santa Cruz. So everything is a lot more local.
So is the aim they come into the campus, or is it deploying out?
So mainly it's deploying out. Again, we do provide Zoom also for those. I will get everybody kind of together.
So it's exactly the same model that we're using in the healthcare application being used here. That's, well, one's for, I'm guessing one is for private and one is for nonprofit, but that was part of my same job. Part of it is not correct. Part of your application is for architecture and architects and the rest of it. The
Correct.
other part of
We
this
have some
application
parts.
is health.
Yeah, we would continue doing as we were at the other contracts the same way. We just added some more healthcare.
That was one of my questions, both at the same time, but now now we're asking for further clarification on the healthcare. Yeah. Yeah. I feel a bit uncomfortable when we're holding back healthcare if we need to ask for the same clarifications on for-profit for that side, but keeping for the non-healthcare, I feel comfortable with. Correct. Until we get the tightening on the healthcare on both, because we've asked for I'm going to say a finer point on the healthcare one, if we do the finer point on the healthcare on this element as well. And maybe revisit for the healthcare. Once we have comfort on the healthcare proposal at the same time. This feels a bit, as we pulled the health home. So is it, I'm going to ask a staff question here. Is it easier to say to hold the entire, come back next panel with the healthcare and the architect, those both jobs for this MEC and the healthcare piece? Is it easier from you guys, or is it easier to separate two contracts?
Well, that would, I guess, be the, if you guys are comfortable coming back for both and kind of addressing their concerns around the healthcare, like they stated earlier, in the HWAF is.
Because we send
Information.
requested information.
Yeah.
Table and come
Can I-
back in the exact same way.
Right, we can table and just as an offer here with regards to one of the options you were looking at. If you were to remove and just move forward with the non-healthcare, it's a very small amount
A
of
lot of it's on
bodies,
healthcare, isn't
right?
it? Yeah.
And not only that, also because bringing back both with the bulk of the questions on healthcare, I think I might serve the panel also. There is a occupation called healthcare worker, which is a little bit non-descriptive and is so that it can better mirror what are looking at the occupations in both contracts.
Yep. Move to table. I think.
My mic is now on. Move to table this one.
Okay.
Second.
Do I hear a motion to do this?
Yes, move to table.
Move to table.
Second.
Have a second. Thank you. Any further discussion from the panel? Any public comment? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
What tab are we on now?
We're now
So
going to
that concludes the proposals pulled from consent calendar. So we're going to turn to tab number 37, please. American Medical Response of Southern California. AMR. This would be AMR's fourth ETP project and the third in the last 5 years. I do need to address the correction for this proposal regarding the total ETP funding. The panel agenda states AMR is requesting $499,500 in total ETP funding, but the proposal states AMR is requesting $499,000 $905. The dollar amount on the proposal is correct of $499,905. AMR plans to train a total of 483 retrainees over 2 job numbers. AMR's headquarters is in Riverside, California, with additional locations statewide. This training project will support AMR's efforts to successfully and efficiently train EMTs/paramedics in the proper protocols and procedures to provide ambulatory care to their patients. AMR's prior project earned $477,940, which was 100% of their awarded funding amount. Here today representing AMR and ready to address questions from the panel is Peter Frenchman, Manager, Tax and Accounting, and James Wynot, Consultant.
Good afternoon. Peter Frenchman, Director of State and Local Tax, for representing American Medical Response. We are a provider of ground ambulance services throughout California, both emergent and non-emergent. We do have a correction, just to head this off right away, in the wage tables. So job number 1 and job number 2 should be the same, basically. So the 1685 in job number 2, that should read 18. And actually the paramedics should be a different range as well, starting at 20. So that's probably where we should start in correcting those.
Like you knew my line of questioning.
Does the panel have any questions on this proposal?
You also state in your application under the wage and retention modifications that for job number 1, where did I see this? No, I'm sorry, but per the CBA, the wages for both the EMTs and the paramedics will receive a wage increase between 3% to 4% over the period of the contract. What you just stated with the correction to the wage table is not inclusive of that 3 to 4% increase, correct? Yet.
No.
So that's going to be
right.
on top of what you just stated. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Questions, or do we have a motion?
Motion to approve American Medical Response of Southern California in an ETP funding amount. I'm going to look over to Kellen, make sure I got this correct. $499,905.
That's correct.
Perfect. With the amendments and corrections to the wage tables so that the paramedics start off at $20 an hour and job number 2 matches the wages stated in job number 1.
Second.
Of course.
Any further discussion from the panel on this proposal? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? Motion is adopted.
Thank you.
If you will please turn to tab number 38, Orange Coast Title Company. This would be OCTC's second ETP contract and the first in the last 5 years. OCTC is requesting $176,115 in total ETP funding. They plan to train a total of 293 retrainees over 3 job numbers. OCTC's headquarters is in Santa Ana, California, with an additional 11 locations across Imperial, Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. OCTC proposal has been on the ETP panel agenda in April and June of 2023 for consideration and evaluation. During the June 2023 panel meeting proposal deliberation, there was a panel motion to move the proposal to the next panel meeting. So ETP staff could research NIAX codes referenced during the June panel meeting and clarify the company's customer base. The introduction section on page 3 and page 4 describes the research conducted by ETP staff. Here today representing OCTC and ready to address questions from the panel is Barbara Khoury, Vice President, and Keith Brahma, Consultant.
Good afternoon, panel and Madam Chair. Thank you so much for having us back to revisit some of the questions that you posed during the last meeting. We appreciate it. And I know that I addressed your concerns, Chairperson. Sorry, member. I'm new at this, okay? I apologize. But anyway, I hope that the research addressed the concerns of the panel and that you understand that since 1974, our goal has been to act as a title and settlement agent and to provide title insurance policies to homeowners so that it protects their interest in probably their largest asset. And basically, that's what we do. We've been doing it, like I said, since 1974, have had no issues. The thing about title insurance is, we don't get college graduates for title insurance. We don't get high school graduates that say, oh, I want to be in title insurance. Most young people don't even know what title insurance is. So we are taking people from the ground up out of high school and training them. And we have a lot of legacy people, oh, my mom was an escrow officer. My dad has been in title his whole life. And that's where we get our employees. So it's very important that we have the ability to train and continue to train. And our turnover rate is extremely low, even for our industry. And we think part of the reason that we're so successful is because we do internally train, educate, and promote. So I appreciate the reconsideration, if you want to call it that. And I'm here to answer any other questions that you have.
Anno.
Of course. So thankful for you and thankful for collaborating with staff and proving the point that you don't fall under the moratorium that we have on mortgage banking. It is still not a priority industry for us
Correct.
to fund on this. The one area of questioning that wasn't met to my satisfaction is who is your customer base on the lender side? Because you had previously included in the last month's application a lender that made the news in quite a way that
Yes.
was not good for the consumers or those homeowners.
Yes.
So who is your lender base now?
Our
And-
lender base now is, our largest lender now is Wells Fargo. And we have a number of, I don't know if you've heard credit unions,
Yes.
Westcom, a number of credit unions. I don't know them all off the top of my head because I don't work in the files every day. But I would say institutional lenders,
Okay.
credit unions. We've got some AmeriHome Mortgage, National Mortgage Banker.
Mm.
So that's our current client base. The client base that was on here was a client base from several years ago.
Okay.
And we just failed to update the information when we provided you with the new proposal. We should have caught it. I
Especially that
apologize.
one.
Yeah, especially that one. Not anything to brag about.
Right, exactly. Talk to me a little bit about the pay structure of your staff, specifically the lien staff. Are they earning an hourly wage or is it connected to the number of titles that they are afforded to the different homeowners?
Our entire staff is paid on an hourly rate or salary
Okay.
per month. And it's not, we do have bonuses that we offer, either when the company is doing extremely well or if they've gone above and beyond, but their salaries are not tied to any number of things that they may be able to complete or afford anyone.
Thank you. You can understand my leeriness.
Yes,
of such a
I do understand
thing and
that. We're
not
very
having-
heavily regulated by the Department of Insurance.
Yes.
So we try to watch our Ps and Qs.
The rest.
You rest. All righty. Okay. Any other questions from the panel?
Motion to approve Orange Coast Title Contract Number ET 24-0129 in the amount of $176,115.
Your second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion from the panel on this one? And any comment from the public on this proposal? So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you very much again for your time.
Okay, panel members, we are on tab 39, and this is a training proposal for Anheuser-Busch LLC. They are a priority industry and a repeat contractor. There is a union involved, Teamsters Local 896. Total ETP funding being requested today is for $454,480 for an estimated number of trainees of 304. Under Job 1, priority rate retrainees. Training will be delivered at its facilities in Van Nuys and Fairfield. This will be Anheuser-Busch's second ETP contract and its first in the last 5 years. And here today to answer your questions are Greg Johnson, Controller, Laura Evans, Autonomous Operations Manager, and Susan Happel, Assistant People Manager. Thank you.
Afternoon, panel members, and thank you for having us. Special thanks to Chris and Robert for our application support. I think it's been very well vetted going through our application. So we're standing before you to answer any questions you may have and any concerns. So thank you.
Any questions from the panel on this one? No. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the Anheuser-Busch contract. Scrolling, sorry. Oh, no, you don't want that low amount. Hold on. $454,480.
Second.
Any further discussions in the panel on this proposal? Any comment from the public? All of those in favor say aye.
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 All those who oppose say nay. And any abstentions? Motion adopted.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, permission to be recused from the next tab.
We're turning to tab 40 here. This is a retrainee job creation critical proposal for Applied Materials, Inc. They are a priority industry and a repeat contractor. Total ETP funding being requested today is for $749,455 for an estimated number of trainees of 515 under Job 1, priority rate retrainee, and 150 under Job 2, job creation retraining. As I mentioned, this is a critical proposal. Applied Materials was designated as such through the GoBiz office. And Applied Materials is taking a major step in bolstering California's semiconductor industry. The company is applying for creating helpful incentives to produce semiconductors, CHIPS Act, funding to accelerate innovation, drive semiconductor technology advancements, and create good, high-paying jobs in California. ETP training will be delivered at its facilities in Santa Clara and Sunnyvale. And this will be Applied's 8th ETP contract and its 4th in the last 5 years. And here today to answer your questions are Lillian Chu, Senior Manager of Human Resources, and Phil Herrera of Herrera and Company.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the panel. As Chris mentioned in his introduction, my name is Lillian and I'm a Senior Human Resources at Applied. For those of you who don't know, Applied specializes in developing manufacturing equipment and software for the fabrication of semiconductors, displays, and electronic devices. We basically provide the tools necessary to produce advanced chips, continually pushing the boundaries of what is possible. In addition to our core business, Applied supports initiatives like the CHIPS Act, which is a federal law that aims to bolster domestic semiconductor manufacturing and research capabilities. By supporting this type of legislation, Applied is demonstrating its commitment to strengthen our country's semiconductor industry and ensure its global competitiveness. Finding talent continues to be probably the biggest challenge in semiconductor companies today and in the future. And yes, there are exciting public-private partnership opportunities ahead for the industry to grow a skilled workforce, whether it be through the CHIPS Act, apprenticeships, ETP, and others. The responsibility for creating a highly skilled workforce still sits with us. At Applied, we have resolute plans for investing workforce training going forward. And here in California, ETP has continued to be a catalyst to deliver more customized training to our Silicon Valley employees. And our senior management team is very pleased with the results of past ETP contracts, and we feel privileged to partner with the state of California to develop our employees. Thank you again for hearing our proposal. And I do want to thank, of course, the ETP staff, GoBiz, and of course, Phil for helping out with the application. Questions?
I have one, but go on if you want.
So you mentioned your application to receive a CHIPS Act funding, and then you also mentioned the $4 billion investment to build the new facility, but that's not the CHIPS Act, correct? You're still waiting for confirmation of that?
Yes, so the $4 billion investment that was announced a couple of months ago, it might go in parallel with the CHIPS Act, like there might be funding from the CHIPS Act going to that. I don't think it's been confirmed or anything like that, but.
Very exciting though.
It is exciting.
I just have one question. So we're in the 4th contract in here in the last 5 years, and you clearly state in the application that you'll not enroll employees who participated in previous contracts. Can you just help me understand how you manage that? Because I know managing learning functions is hard work and making sure we're not duplicating. I'm just curious how you plan to manage that.
Sure, absolutely. Again, this goes to the brilliance of Cal eForce. They'll keep a firm track on who's enrolled in one contract. And then just, honestly, big companies lead through the ETP funding pretty fast. So by the time we reapply, everybody's through the training and post 90 days of employment. But on our side, on our database side, and on the Cal eForce side, we'll just make sure that we don't anybody who was placed in that.
Making sure it doesn't get to Cal eForce before that's my piece. Is like, as it gets to Cal eForce, that's one piece, but beforehand, so you're not having to do double admin stuff both on, ETP staff and yourselves in making sure in that statement that we're not going to be training those who participated in previous contracts.
Absolutely.
Is there a motion to approve this proposal from the panel?
Motion to approve the Applied Materials, Inc. in an ETP funding amount of $749,455.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion from the panel? Any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to thank panel staff, Robert Meyer, Hoover, Samantha Wang, all the team at GoBiz. They have been amazing to work with in this whole CHIPS Act opportunity for the state of California. It's a big thing. So just keep the good work going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, panel. Tab 41 has been pulled and we'll return to another ETP panel meeting at a later date for the record.
Next, we have tab 42, a proposal from Certified Stainless Service, Inc., DBA Westmark. They are a repeat contractor requesting $372,600 to train 250 workers, including 50 new employees and 10 veterans. Training will take place at Certified Stainless's locations in Atwater, Bakersfield, and Ceres. Here representing Certified Stainless to answer any questions are Bill Doty, CFO, Emily Martinez, Human Resources Manager, and Jackie Arden, Program Administrator.
Thank you. First of all, we want to thank the panel for allowing us the opportunity to hear about our company. Some of you may be new and haven't heard about us, so I will talk a little bit about Westmark. Westmark has served the local community and its customers for nearly 60 years. We are a small-size manufacturing company that builds large tankers and semi-trailers. Our manufacturing companies are in Kern, Merced, and Stanislaus County. We currently have 223 team members who are primarily skilled and semi-skilled welders and mechanics. We are a family-owned company and provide excellent wages and benefits for all of our team members and their families. We provide programs such as our Greatness Program and an annual company picnic to recognize accomplishments of our team members. Westmark is an equal employment opportunity employer. We direct hire and provide internal training and certifications for all of our job postings. Westmark has strived to remain competitive in our large out-of-state companies by designing the highest quality and custom-made products for our growing markets. The primary reason we are requesting this grant is in preparation for major expansion for a large 5 to 7 year contract and additional contracts in process. Westmark is now hiring and launching a skill training program for approximately 50 new team members. The expansion will include a full second shift, $2 million investment in the new equipment and major reconstructive of the manufacturing process. Team members will be trained in the new advanced manufacturing welding, painting, assembly, along with other skills. With the help of the ETP grant, we anticipate hiring more team members and retaining existing team members with the skills needed for our future growth. We are happy to answer any questions now. Thank you.
Does the panel have any questions on this proposal?
Just for job number 1, production technician, the stated wage range for the first tier is $18 to $20 an hour. And for that same position elsewhere, it's a little bit higher. So with this training that they're going to receive through this contract, how soon will they progress in their wages and get a wage increase?
Usually right after their 90 days, their introductory period, we can see that they're progressing. So that's how they progress. Actually, after 90 days, right away, they get higher pay.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions from the panel?
Motion to approve Certified Stainless Service Inc., DBA Westmark, contract number ET 24-0117, in the amount of $372,600.
And
second.
Any further discussion from the panel? Any public comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, panel.
Thank you.
Next we have tab 43, a proposal from Chris Company. They are a repeat contractor
Hang
requesting.
on 1 second, Phil. Madison has to.
So, Madam Chair, I request to recuse myself from this project.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Alrighty.
We're ahead of you.
Gotcha.
You just want to get to lunch, don't you? You just want to get to lunch.
Just a little
Just a
hungry.
little bit.
Just
I
a little
know.
bit. Alrighty. Tab 43 is a proposal from Chris Company. They're a repeat contract requesting $460,575 to train 315 workers, including 45 new employees. Training will take place at Chris Company's locations in Alameda, Fresno, Monterey, San Bernardino, San Joaquin, Sonoma, Ventura, and Yolo County. Here representing Chris Company to answer any questions are Jake Chris, VP of Operations, Mike Horberg, Training Coordinator, Jill Musin, Consultant, Synergy Management Consultants.
Hey, good afternoon, panel. Thank you for considering our second request for funding. The first funds that we've received have gone to training, development, our employees, and becoming, helping them become better in the field. Our company installs stripes on the roads throughout California. So safety for us is number one. If we put our employees in hazardous conditions, we want to ensure that they're properly trained to handle a variety of situations they may encounter. So safety is our first priority. Through the funding we've received, we've been able to expand our current training curriculum. It's helped us improve our safety program, and it's allowed us to create a digital platform, which is kind of new and innovating for us. We can actually track our employees digitally, all the training they've received, so we know if someone's missing a component. We do a lot of hiring, and we do hire all of our employees, and we bring them into a training program to ensure they're not going into the field unprepared. And we start that day one of their training. The funding from the second proposal will help us continue that training, developing that platform to ensure that when these guys are working in the field and on the highways, the freeways, pick a road, they're safe. And that's our priority. Our motto is safety first, and we emphasize that with all the people we bring on board. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I have just one question in the wording of this. You say that you're going to continue to train on skip line and limb technology, along with training on new thermoplastic extrusion and new software. How is that different there? Because you say we will expand on the training in the previous contract. So how is the training different, I guess, or changing versus what you trained in the last one?
As new technologies emerge in our industry, we have to adapt. It's like with the panel digital revolution, our industry also goes through a digital innovation with new technology. So as this evolves, we have to train our employees how to use this technology in the field. We use highly advanced equipment, if you will. If you know striping, you know what that is. But if you don't, it's a big truck with guns and mechanisms and everything. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
We're trying to get our guys the boots off the ground. So we're going into LiDAR, photo recognition and stuff. So there's a lot of training on that.
I think the challenge for me is this is not supposed to replace current training budgets. It's supposed to work on projects of expansion and those pieces. So just being aware that if it's a sustainability of your training practices going forward, in allowing you to sure people are being trained to where they should be without having to reliance always on the panel. For that is all that I ask.
Yeah, no, we definitely continue that training. Yeah, it's a continuation of what we're doing. It just helps us expand our ability.
Any further questions from anyone on the panel? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the Chris Company in an ETP funding amount of $460,575.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion from the panel on this one? And any comment from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is approved.
Thank you all. Thank you all. We really appreciate it.
Good afternoon, panel. We actually will wait for me to come back. Yes. All right. Well,
You bring it to a close.
see, I'm ahead of you, Rebecca.
Still got a couple of those.
Please turn to all the way back to tab 44. And before I read the introduction for this project, I have a 13-slide PowerPoint I'd like to discuss.
Of course you would, yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't adult, Tara. I tried. This is a core funded proposal for Long Beach Community College District located in the city of Long Beach. Long Beach Community College District primarily serves the city of Long Beach, Signal Hill, Lakewood, and Catalina Island. However, has extensive partnerships throughout Southern California. While this is the district's first ETP contract, the college has participated in ETP-funded training through the Upskill Collaborative of ETP Contracting Community Colleges for several years, as well as with El Camino Community College to provide training for advanced transportation technologies, as well as port electrification. In this project, the contractor is requesting $428,455 in funding to serve 255 retrainees and 35 job creation retrainees in the following occupation categories: administration, logistics, production, technical staff, and warehouse. The project will also include a job number for small business owners for entrepreneurial training. The training will be provided primarily at employer sites, with a small percentage being provided at the Long Beach Community College facilities. Here we're representing Long Beach Community College District is Dana Fries, Interim Director for Workforce Development, as well as subcontractor Gordon Kirkpatrick of Kirkpatrick Enterprises International.
Good morning, panel members. Thank you for having us today and considering our application. And I'd also like to thank Margarita in the North Hollywood Field Office for the critical support for this application. I'd also like to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to spend so much time with you today. I've learned a lot, and it's been very, very amazing. As mentioned, LBCC is seeking multiple employer contract to continue support for businesses, as you may or may not know, that were previously served by the Santa Monica contract and have been in limbo for a bit, and then plans to also expand the training opportunities to our business partners in the Long Beach area. As mentioned, it's our first contract, but we have participated in ETP as subcontractors before, and we have experience with the documentation and ETP requirements and have tracking processes in place. We're also uniquely positioned for the industries we identified. We are close to the Port of Long Beach. We have the Maritime Center of Excellence at Long Beach City College, which is a partnership with the port and is recognized by the Federal Maritime Administration. We also we'll be opening a brand new building in this coming fall that will be supported by a $2 million earmark from Congressman Garcia to support Space Beach, which is what we're calling the massive amounts of aerospace industry that is in Long Beach, which we're very excited about. Long Beach City College also hosts the LA Regional SBDC Network, Small Business Development Center Network, as well as the Long Beach LA Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program, giving us a unique opportunity to support entrepreneurial and small businesses. So thank you so much for your consideration, and welcome any questions you might have.
I don't have any questions.
Motion to approve Long Beach Community College District contract number ET 24-0111 in the amount of $428,455.
Second.
Any further discussion from the panel? Any public comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion is adopted.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, so we're moving on to the next line of the agenda is, do we have any panel members who wish to request any future agenda items?
No.
No. Are you sure about that? Okay, and then we have an opportunity now with the limited public that we still have here, and I'm not sure how many we have on the phone, to address the panel on any issues that were not scheduled on today's agenda. We cannot act on these issues, but we may refer matters to staff for review and possible future panel action. So do we have any public comment? All righty. Any on the phone? Awesome. So comes to that time of the day. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Don't move.
Can I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, any abstentions? The motion is adopted. Meeting adjourned.